Hey guys, happy Friday. Thanks for joining us on another edition of FilmSpeak Live. No, we're starting a little late here. Sorry, a little bit of a tech mishap, but nothing to worry about. I am Griffin, as always, and if this is your first time tuning into one of these live streams, they're very casual. As you can see, I'm wearing a tank top, which I guess has become my signature thing on this. So I didn't want to disappoint everyone, so I had to put one on. But basically, we take your live questions, we talk movies, we talk basically whatever we feel like talking about. And I have three amazing guests joining me on this special Q&A. First of all, you know him, you love him, you know him, and it's Mr. Tyler Tompkins. Tyler, say hello to everyone.
What's going on? I want a tank top, dude. Do you have any extra ones?
I actually do. I have three. You're more than welcome.
We should just make this like a tank top only like show.
That's how I should market it. Damn it.
That would be cool.
Smart. You're smart.
Merch
I fucked it up. Yeah, I ruined it. It's okay. Anyways, and then also, you know him, you love him. He's been on here before, Mr. Chris Parker, aka 3C Film Reviews. Chris, how are you doing, sir?
Hey, doing good. The only reason I tease Griffin about a tank top is because I haven't been able to wear one and look nice in like 5 years.
So, you can pull it off, man.
Listen, little envy.
Just try. I'm just asking you to try. Just do it for one video. It doesn't even have to be on your channel, so you won't ruin your image. But don't even worry about it. And then also, someone new joining the live stream this week is my good friend Kaleena. So Kaleena, say hello to everyone.
I did not get the tank top memo either, so that's on me, guys.
Okay, it is. I will say that it's partially Chris's fault. Chris brought this whole thing up. He was the one who was like, "Hey, man, maybe we should start doing tank tops more. Like, this is it's become like the signature thing. It's what the people want." And then I, last minute decided to put one on, and so I fault no one. It's just the way it happened. But anyways, how is everyone collectively doing on this Friday morning?
Good.
Pretty good. Excited to talk some stuff.
Yeah, a lot has happened.
Yeah,
a lot is happening. Well, actually, that is going to kind of like segue into the first thing that I wanted to talk about, which is like we got our first movie trailer in like months, and I mean like legitimate movie trailer. I'm not talking about those VOD like IFC films, whatever. Nothing against those movies. A lot of those films are great, but like this is our first real trailer. It was for Christopher Nolan's Tenet. Obviously, I reviewed it yesterday if you guys are out. But I want to go around the table and I want to get everyone's thoughts on it. Kaleena, I want to start with you because I know you have a little bit of a controversial opinion on it, and so I've been waiting anxiously to hear what you have to say. So let me hear it.
So I want to start by saying that I'm a Nolan nerd. Okay, I love him. He's on the Rushmore. I have just been a little drained of Nolan lately because Dunkirk did not age well with me. I was not wild about it when I saw it, and I've only seen it one more time since it came out, which is very rare for me in general, but especially with a Nolan film. And I am beginning to kind of get the feeling of a one-trick pony from him, not in a way that is unique because Scorsese is doing this. The Irishman was kind of like the cultivation of everything that Martin Scorsese is good at, right? I loved The Irishman. It was my number one of last year, but that was kind of the vibe I got from the Tenet trailer. I'm so thrilled about Robert Pattinson and John David Washington. I think they're going to be phenomenal together. It looks gorgeous because, of course, it does. No one is not going to make a film that looks physically.
Yeah.
And so it's exciting, and I like that Nolan never gives too much away in his trailers. I like how they kind of infuse some imagery from Inception and Dark Knight and Dunkirk. But overall, there were so many spots where I could have paused the trailer and been like, yeah, you did that in Dark Knight. Yeah, you did that in Inception. And so it kind of just felt like, the way I described it to Griff through text yesterday, was it felt like the best of package that plays right before he's awarded the Cecil B. DeMille Award at the Globe. and so
that was such like a great analogy. Yeah.
I'm hoping to be pleasantly just, surprised. It looks cool, but at this point, I'm kind of waiting to be thrilled by Nolan again because it just kind of feels like I've seen a bit of this from him before.
Sure, and I think that's fair. Like, I definitely, like, when I was watching it, the thing that I immediately went to was just, like, this is very much like Inception for the 2020s. I think even just like the way it was structured and like whatnot, it just reminded me of those Inception trailers, obviously just without the Blom and whatnot. But I don't know. I will say I think there is something a little bit more interesting going on here. Like I definitely get more of the espionage that was being teased to us prior to this trailer and whatnot. But anyways, Chris, I'll throw it to you next. What did you think of the Tenet trailer?
Oh yeah, I really dug it. I'm surprised we have not mentioned the format in which it was delivered to us. I don't know if that's going to be a whole different side topic, but just who would have thought Fortnite would be the place to watch the latest Tenet trailer? Like, I have to think it was some sort of marketing deal. Fortnite just threw a bunch of money at Warner Brothers to have it, and they're like, Nolan, you want this to go to theaters? We might fail. This is what it's going to take. And I mean, he sold it well in that interview where he said it's so people could come together and whatnot. But as far as the trailer itself, I dug it. I'm not as picky or into the things that you guys were saying. That's just because you look around me. I'm surrounded by toys and superhero stuff. It's only so far deeply I get in. I'm more intrigued by the premise and what's going on story-wise. Like I like how Christopher Nolan just comes up with these stories that I guess have themes that we've seen before, but are done a different way, with like a dream within a dream or traveling to different planets and what that means with expanding time. And now this, where it's like time travel, or they say in the trailer it's inversion. I'm really excited to see it, especially Robert Pattinson. I like his accent.
Yeah. Pattinson was he's good. I have many theories about Pattinson, but before we get into that, Tyler,
Yes.
let's move to you first. What did you think of the trailer?
Yeah, I was one of the few people who actually got on Fortnite and waited for this thing. Like I watched the countdown.
You literally you FaceTimed me while you were on Fortnite to show your TV screen. This
it was playing like
480p version of the trailer.
They played I'm not a gamer, but I play Fortnite because it's so fun. But like in Fortnite, there's a map where there's like a drive-in movie theater, and they literally played the trailer on the screen in the movie theater in the map. Like, it was ridiculous. And also, the guy said one of Nolan's movies is premiering on Fortnite later this summer. So that's weird. Like, people are going to be able to watch a Nolan movie in Fortnite, which is really weird. But as for the trailer itself, I really dug it. But, I mean, I've been on board with this movie for a long time because I saw the prologue before when I saw the Rise of Skywalker. They played the prologue in IMAX. That's the best piece of footage I've seen from this movie so far, and that's what really sold me. So, yeah, I'm in on this one. I also didn't like Dunkirk either, Kaleena. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I've seen it once as well after the theater. There's really no rewatch with that one, so I'm happy to see Nolan return to this kind of filmmaking. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, you bring up an interesting point about the prologue being the best piece of footage that you've seen from it. I almost think that that's the best indication as to how this movie's going to turn out. I feel like when it comes to the marketing, it's like Warner Brothers has their marketing team. They're like, oh, it's another Nolan film. Okay, let's market it like this because everyone loves the way these trailers are kind of put together. So it's like, I totally get where you're coming from, Kaleena, and exactly the same with you, Tyler, about like, okay, it's another Christopher Nolan movie. It's another Christopher Nolan trailer. This is what we expect in a Nolan trailer, and that's what we got. There were just still like several moments in there that were like super, just like amazing. Like I love the whole bit where the bullet like bounces off the wall into the gun. Like that was really
sick,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like the stuff of them like going up the building and whatnot.
You remember
I don't know. I think we're in for something.
Do you remember the scene in the trailer where they're like in an auditorium and they're running around and like that was the prologue. It's like 8 minutes of that whole scene. Did you see it?
That's the prologue.
Wow.
Did any of you see it or no?
No.
Oh, you did? Okay, yeah.
Oh, you saw it? Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's gonna be really good. I have really high hopes for this one. It was really cool. I don't even know what happened.
Okay.
Like it's so confusing what happens, but I was like, I'm in. I don't care.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Kaleena, did you dig the prologue as well?
To be honest, I don't remember it as clearly as Tyler does, just because my brain has absorbed so much, and especially in quarantine. I've really full responsibilities, and I'm just consuming media. But yeah, I remember being intrigued, and that's one thing just in general about marketing, but especially Nolan stuff. The teasers that he releases like a year before his movies are even coming to fruition, I think end up being the most intriguing because that's kind of his staple, that's his trademark. I love that initial little teaser we got of, John David and Robert kind of touching the bullet holes on the glass. Like, that was really exciting.
Yeah.
And maybe I just kind of have like trailer overexposure, because nowadays we get like 4 or 5 trailers before the movie comes out. And a lot of times trailers are revealing too much. I still don't think it's talked about enough that in the first major Infinity War trailer, they showed Tony like at the end of the movie as everything was happening. So
yeah,
I'm excited. And Tyler, I also have to say I'm so impressed that you like understood how to watch it on Fortnite. I'm not Sims and Crash Bandicoot. That's not the qualifications. But I have 2 brothers that are 7 and 10 years old, and all they do is play Fortnite. And so when I first saw this ridiculous advertisement, I was like, okay, cool, I can watch it. And then I was like, where do I go? Would I have to go like search for the trailer, or is gameplay going to be interrupted? Because it was like every hour we're playing.
Yeah,
it's like the Hunger Games.
It's so weird. Like, 3 weeks ago, I went to a Travis Scott concert on Fortnite. Like, it's really weird. Like, we're living in a really weird time. So it's weird that I was excited and knew exactly what to do for this.
Theaters. I'm gonna be out of a job. My theater is gonna call me and be like, "Listen, we're moving to Fortnite now, so you're employed through Fortnite."
Yeah, seriously.
Honestly, it's the way of the future. Real quickly, Dennis S says that I love how they were marketing it with by the director of the Dark Knight trilogy, Inception, and Dunkirk. Like they could literally name any of his movies except the following. That's true. You could literally put any movie up there and everyone would be like, oh wow. But that was actually one of my favorite parts of the trailer, because it was like it was so different, and it just shows you kind of just like the impact and influence he's had over the years and just on film in general. And I mean, people just love going to his movies, so I think it was a smart move for sure. And especially if you're dropping this on Fortnite with a bunch of kids who, like, they don't inherently know who Christopher Nolan is, but you mentioned the Dark Knight trilogy, you mentioned Inception, I mean, you even mentioned Dunkirk, and they're like, oh yeah, I know that guy. So that was everything about this. While it was really silly, genius marketing move, like super smart.
Agreed.
All right, so let's get into some of these live questions here. Guys, as always, be sure to send in your live questions. If you want your question answered immediately, you can send in a super chat. It is not required, but we do appreciate it. So, okay, let me go back up here, because I know I missed a few of them. Okay, we'll start with this one. Luke DeLeo asks, are you excited for Black Widow? Oh, whoop, they didn't pull it up. There it is. Are you excited? Well, it went away. Okay. Are you excited for Black Widow? Chris, let's start with you.
You know what? I am excited for the movie. I want to see it, of course. I want to check it out. But my excitement has died down with all the delays and just waiting for it. And we've already gotten, I think it's been like 3 full-length trailers, and they're going to have to market this thing all over again for that new release date. And how much more new footage can they show before they're just really showing way too much of the film? So I am excited. At this point, I'm just kind of like, it'll come out when it'll come out.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler, are you still excited for it at this point? Has it kind of like left your mind almost completely?
I don't care about it at all. I'm like, just like Chris. I mean, like, I didn't really care about it in the first place. It's one of those things where, like, right before it comes out, I'm like, oh yeah, Black Widow, I can't wait to see it. But like, yeah, the delays have just killed it. Like November, by the time, I don't know how much more footage they're going to be able to show, if they're going to use the same trailers again. But yeah, I don't know. But like the night before, I'll probably be a little pumped to see it. But nothing has really blown me away from the marketing or anything like that. I wasn't ever really interested in a Black Widow movie, so I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. And I know, Kaleena, you have very strong opinions on this one.
Okay.
Generally, I've been very underwhelmed by Phase 4 of Marvel, and I agree. There's some bias that my original 6 aren't there. Those are the people that I've watched their stories develop. It doesn't mean that the next generation doesn't deserve that kind of equal, excitement and opportunity. They do. It's just, these were the gang that I rallied around. Their stories are done. I have no interest in seeing them come back. Everyone who's like, oh my God, do you think that Captain America is going to show up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Leave him alone. Like,
yeah.
Done. Hemsworth is going to ride this out till the end of time. Like, let it be over. And so for Black Widow, look, as the only girl in the gang of six, I think she deserved her solo movie a long time ago. It's not like let's be honest. Ren and Hawkeye is the least popular of the six, so it's not like she didn't have a strong enough built-in following to earn a solo movie. And so by the time they announced it, I'm like, bro, it's too late. You're like 20-something movies in. And now with how Endgame worked out, which I will not even get into Endgame, I think she was done dirty. I don't like how they wrapped up her story. And I can't help but be one of those people that, like, when I go see Black Widow, I'm be like, yeah, cool, but she's dead. Yep, still dead though. Oh, that's great. Still dead. And that's
yeah.
I will go see it. It's a Marvel movie. I'm still gonna be excited. I'm gonna clear my schedule for it, like Tyler was saying. But at this point, if it doesn't come out for 3 years, I probably won't even notice.
Yeah, I think you kind of hint at the larger issue with it, which is like it is coming out and it's taking place after the events of Civil War and before like Infinity War and Endgame. I think it'll like add context to like where she's at when we find her in Infinity War, especially with the vest. Like I'm totally still on the train that what's her name? Florence Pugh dies in that film, and then she
me too.
takes the vest. I think like it just makes sense to me. But like also, I don't know. I am excited to see like another sort of like grounded like spy movie that's like it's got its heightened elements. It looks like Taskmaster is going to be an awesome villain. And like I'm happy that she is finally getting a film. Granted, it's late, very late, but like she deserves a movie, you know. And so it's like I'd rather at least give it to her than not give it to her at all. But again, I totally understand like everyone's like complaints about it and not being like excited for it. It has kind of left my mind a little bit, and I wasn't like jumping out of my chair immediately. But I don't know, from the stuff that I've seen of it, it looks like it's going to be pretty exciting. Like it just, if you take it as a self-contained like Jason Bourne inspired spy thriller, then like I don't know. I think it'll please a lot of people. It's not going to blow anyone away for sure, but I don't know. Maybe we'll get like spin-offs from there. We'll get like maybe some more Red Guardian and stuff down the road. Maybe we'll get more Taskmaster if they don't die down the road. Who knows? Maybe they'll incorporate both of those into Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's kind of where I'm thinking. But I don't know. It's definitely a weird sort of way to start Phase 4, though. I will agree on that. Okay, so Tony Movie Chappie D9 Neil Blomkamp, #1 fan, asks, hey, since we are getting the Snyder cut of Justice League, would you want to see the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad as well? You know, film. Sorry, I know it was glitching out. My computer's probably going to glitch out a little bit during this, but would I want to see it? No, not really. I, by and large, didn't really care for Suicide Squad. And, like, I understand that a trailer company basically hijacked his vision, but he was only given, like, I don't know, like a handful of weeks to write the script. And so, like, I find it hard to believe that the story was really anything to, you know, write home about in general. Yeah, it probably would have felt more like a David Ayer movie, and there would have been more Joker in here or whatever. And like we've seen some of the stuff he's teased, but like he's ultimately acknowledged that the failings of that movie are like on his shoulders. So let's just move past that. I think it's a completely different scenario with Justice League because Snyder finished shooting, a tragedy happened in his life, and he got his movie taken away from him. And so it was like, it wasn't like they hired a trailer company to come in and do a bunch of the rewrites. No, he literally had his vision stolen from him. So like, I think when it comes to these like release this director's cut of the film, you have to look at like the facts and like, you know, everything leading up to it and say, okay, was their vision hijacked from them, or was it just kind of like you know, a bunch of circumstances that aligned and then this movie just turned out poorly? But that's kind of how I feel about it. Kaleena, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too, because I was really familiar with, you know, he's given 6 weeks to write the script, which is crazy in general, especially for a movie of that caliber. Because as a writer myself, it's putting a deadline that puts a lot of pressure on you. That kind of strips away some of your natural creativity. So I feel for him in that sense, but it's not like he was not given the budget. It's not like he didn't have a roster of a talented cast. It's not like he didn't have that built-in audience like I was talking about. So for all the things that went wrong during pre-production and production, I still think he had a lot of pluses on his side. And Suicide Squad is one of the rare occasions where I can say I truly hated that movie. It takes a lot for me to really hate a film. I've never watched it.
Yeah.
Never will. But that was probably as close as I got. And it's, the trailer, it's like one of the best trailers that's ever been put out. And for the movie itself to then be so deeply terrible in so many ways, I personally have no interest in seeing. And you can tell me Spielberg was redoing that movie, I still wouldn't give a shit about
it. Yeah. No, for sure. Chris, what do you make of this?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a lot more things to say about the Snyder Cut specifically, but on sticking to the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad, I don't think we're going to get, I guess, his original vision or anything in that form. I think what people are mainly wanting to see out of this is just those Joker scenes. A lot of that footage that we never got to see of Jared Leto, supposedly so much was left on the cutting room floor. And I think if Warner Brothers sees a little bit of success in their Snyder Cut and how many subscribers it could possibly gain them, they wouldn't mind maybe just paying a fraction of what it would cost to finish the David Ayer cut to just put in those Jared Leto Joker scenes. So that's the only thing I see going. But then again, I don't know if there's that big of a push for it.
Yeah, Tyler?
Yeah, I agree. I think the only scenes that are on the cutting floor are Joker scenes. And for me personally, he's the worst part of the entire movie. So, like, even if we do get a David Ayer cut, I don't care to see it. It's just weird, yeah. So no, I'm not interested in it, and I don't think we'll get like an Ayer cut or anything like that.
Yeah, you're saying you don't want to see more of the racist caricatures of people in there? I mean, come on.
It's tempting.
I mean, it's pretty bad. Like, just kind of going back and watching it, I'm like, oh wow, this is kind of not okay. But yeah, no, I listen. I don't care about suicide, and we're getting a James Gunn Suicide Squad 2 years from now.
Exactly.
So like,
Oh yeah.
That I'm more interested in that. That feels like a great fit. He's assembled like an all-star cast. They're not going to look backwards. I feel like this was the first proper live-action Justice League. So it's like, and it was the culmination of their, whatever mishandled universe up until that point. And a lot of things went wrong. So it's like, and the outcry for the proper version of it was there. So it's like all these things aligned, and then HBO Max was like, oh yeah, this Snyder Cut thing, you guys are really making a lot of noise out there. Maybe we'll put it on our streaming service. And so and lo and behold, we have it. But yeah,
I have to step away for 2 seconds. My computer's
we'll
dying.
definitely move on to the Snyder Cut. I do want to address the super chat.
Okay.
Your computer's not okay. Totally fine. Don't worry about it, because I'm gonna throw this up here right now. Okay. I'm going to throw this up here right now. Petition for Tyler to receive a capital T.
I agree. Dude, the lowercase is just not...
What the hell, man? Why have you... Where's the capital T?
The birth certificate has a capital T. I don't know what the deal is. I'm very upset. But I agree, Dennis. Thank you.
Well, that's on you.
Yes.
You could write your name.
So
you know that,
that's
right?
true. You do that.
You're right. Now I'm embarrassed. And I want to go to the next question.
That is entirely your fault,
I
sir.
wish you never brought that up. I cannot unsee that now. I never noticed that.
I think we should definitely move to the next question.
Yeah, I know. See? Yeah.
I'm embarrassed.
Okay, we're gonna address the super chat, guys. Yeah, totally know that I'm the stream's gonna be glitching every now and then. Like it just kind of happens. My computer just sometimes gets a little frantic, but hopefully it gets back on track, and hopefully the audio isn't an issue. It isn't. It is. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Kaleena's back. Perfect. Okay, so Marshall Boy sends in a super chat. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that. He says, favorite Marvel movie not in the MCU. Mine is Ghost Rider. Funny thing about Ghost Rider, Tyler and I had quite the Ghost Rider rewatch. Gosh, what was it, like a year ago or something like that?
Not even. It was like last August. So close to your
last August.
Yeah,
almost a year ago. Man, I don't know. Like, I used to kind of have fun with the first Ghost Rider, the Nicolas Cage one, just because I Nicolas Cage was just kind of like hamming it up and whatnot. I just rewatching them. They're not great,
they're
but
really bad
like
movies.
I totally understand why someone would enjoy the first one though. Like the second one is just like I don't even know what the second one is. It's just like the guys from Crank, like just being let loose to make whatever the hell they made with that film. The first Ghost Rider at least feels more like the type of Marvel movie that would come out during the early 2000s. But yeah, I don't know, man. For me, they haven't quite held up. But Tyler, let's start with you. What is your favorite MCU movie outside of the your favorite Marvel movie outside of the MCU? I think
it's kind of predictable,
know
but it's I mean, it's like the Tobey Maguire, the Spider-Man trilogy. It's my favorite superhero trilogy of all time. I love those movies so much. So that's my pick. Even
Fair
three.
Enough.
Even
right,
three.
Chris. Even no, stop it. That's where you lose me. That's where you lose me. You could just 1 and 2. That's fine. Chris, what is your what's your go-to Marvel outside of the MCU?
To be different, I was a real big fan of the Days of Future Past. I like how they brought the old and new together. I thought that was a real solid movie. So to be different, I'll say Days of Future Past.
Okay, I'll take that. Kaleena?
How's Logan not everyone's answer? That counts, right? That qualifies?
Yep, that qualifies.
Yeah, that totally counts. Absolutely.
That's my next. Yeah, that's next.
First of all, Logan is like canon, as kids say. That's like top
canon.
Yeah.
Okay? But sincerely, Logan is a case where it can be a standalone film that, like it's cinema, right? So good. The storytelling is so good. The cinematography is so good. And even if you don't have the weight of the Wolverine's journey up until that point, it functions so well on its own. It's a rare case where kid actors aren't shit, because normally I hate kid actors. So Logan,
yeah. I go back and forth because I totally agree. I think the best one outside of the MCU, easily Logan, with Spider-Man 2 giving it a run for its money. But like the one I kind of go back to is First Class. First Class is like, just because it's like, I love the Cold War time period, the 60s aesthetic. McAvoy and Fassbender are like perfect. So I don't know, and I just have a lot of fun with that movie, and I think Matthew Vaughn brings a lot of style and just energy to it. I mean, I'm a big fan of his as a filmmaker, so like naturally that's probably gonna be the one that I gravitate towards. But yeah, I guess when you take out the MCU, you're really just left with like the Raimi films, Ang Lee's Hulk, and the X-Men.
Yeah.
I mean, Blade 2 and
Fantastic Four.
I have fun with I have fun with those.
Me too.
They're not bad, but not Trank's film though. Not Trank's film.
What about Thomas Jane's Punisher?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. I like that one.
I like that movie. That's a good movie. I do like that one. I like Josh Trank's Fantastic Four too. I'm not ashamed.
I like the first half.
Yeah.
Should be.
Yeah.
I know you. Why are you the way you are, Tyler?
Sorry. First half's great. First half's great.
What's your favorite part of the movie at the end when Snakeface Miles Teller was like, "Ooh, wait, what did you say?"
we don't talk about the last half of that movie.
How many of us? 4? Four? I wanted to jump out of an airplane and end my life. It was so bad.
Before that, it's all great. Before that
one scene.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy that someone liked it. That's good.
Yeah, I was like the only person.
Yeah.
Guess Griffin's frozen.
Yeah. Second in command, Tyler. That's you.
He got tired of the bullshit. He left.
But no, Logan would be next for me. Do you like the old like the 2005 Fantastic Four movies?
I don't mind them.
Tim Stories.
So
you've never seen them?
Who? What?
What'd you say?
Oh, I was saying like Chris Evans, so that's like a default.
Oh yeah, he's great. Yeah, he's great.
By default.
That movie's it's awkward to rewatch though because of The Thing. Like The Thing is so weird in that one.
Dang, I never thought Griffin would be this much a glue for us right here.
Like,
he's gone.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Back.
Listen, okay. I figured out what was going on. Okay, so there are two Wi-Fi things on here, and like the one that I was connected to was the shitty one because I restarted my computer, and every time I restart it, it always goes to the shitty one. So, hopefully this works a lot better now.
Your image
the computer wasn't even heating up. I was just like, what is going on here? But anyways, okay, let's get back to some of these questions. Let's see. There was one in here. Well, I mean, I guess we can kind of just tie it into here, but basically, Gagne says, we live in a world where the Snyder Cut is about to get a Mandalorian level type of treatment, so I am very happy today. I guess, are you talking about, like, the fact that it's going to be episodic, that it's, getting made or whatnot? So I guess I'm a little confused about what you mean by that, but, like, we'll use that as the springboard to kind of talk about the Snyder Cut just in general. So, Kaleena, are you excited about the fact that we're getting the Snyder Cut? Do you think, like, I don't know, do you think it's going to be good or whatnot?
I'm a bit middle of the road in general. I do not love Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman the way that everyone else does. I seem to have not been able to find that little magical silver lining that everyone else does. I will never process the jar of piss scene. I will never process the Martha scene. I can't get over it. And I just generally am upset when Jesse Eisenberg is on my screen. He's just upsetting for me to look at. And so I'm not naturally inclined towards those movies. So I didn't really care about Justice League. I literally went for Gal Gadot. When it was over, I was like, okay, that was a movie that wasn't the Avengers. What I will say is there's a lot of toxicity to it. There's definitely a lot of negative aspects of it. But at the end of the day, I'm very excited for the people that were passionate, and this was like the project that meant a lot, because the circumstances of what happened are devastating, and the fact that it's been turned into this kind of charitable movement, I think, is a really wonderful thing. But regardless of how you look at it, whether you consider them to be whiny or geeks who didn't get their way, whatever it is, a group of people rallied together and literally made something happen from like sheer will and blind faith. And so I'm excited for that group of people. I think that's impressive. I do agree that Zach deserves his chance to tell the story the way he had it in his mind. I'm a little bit bothered that he's getting so much more money to do, reshoots or finish sound mixing or VFX or whatever. I guess that's part of him getting his vision, but at the same time, at this point, this movement has been going on for about 3 years now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
and he's had the chance to like tailor make his ending based on how the fans are going to react. So I'm curious what percentage of the final product will end up being his original vision versus, ooh, I've been taking notes for the last 3 years, and this is I think what I should have done instead.
Yeah.
So happy for it. But will I watch it? I can't imagine that I will.
I mean, I think that's totally fair though, because it's like Snyder is a very, like, you either love him or you don't, and I think you see that across all of his films. So it's like, if you really loved his vision for the DCEU, this is like the best news you could possibly get. But I almost think it's better to look at this as like a an Elseworld or like Otherworld, just kind of like self-contained universe. It's like, okay, the DCEU moving forward is going to be this. This is just like a one-off sort of thing. And like in that regard, I like that we get this like really Snydery trilogy that's interesting and got like at least for me, I think interesting like comments to make and whatnot, and it's darker and like it gives people what they want. So I don't know. I guess the other thing is to think about is like, if it's successful and there's like a major just like bump in appreciation and whatnot, it's like, do they take elements from the Snyder Cut and try to incorporate it into the DCEU at large going forward, or do they just shut the door in that chapter of the DCEU? I don't know. I think they'd be smart to probably just like let that trilogy be what it is. But anyways, Chris, going to you, what are your thoughts on the Snyder Cut?
Yeah, there's so many angles to go on with this, because like just jumping off what you were just saying now. So what if it's a success? Is this now canon? Is this where the future of the DCU is headed? Because a lot of what was in the Snyder Cut, at least from what we're told, was set up for future movies. We're set up for future events, leading out for the Flash movie, setting up a bigger Darkseid battle in the future events. So the fact that Zack Snyder in that Hollywood Reporter interview also mentioned that it's an all new thing. So it really is taking what Kaleena said. is he's rewriting what fans are saying and just going to reshape this into one confined story, it seems like. On whether it's going to be a 4-hour movie or 6 episodes, I don't know. I also got to thinking, some people are not mentioning this, we don't even know how HBO Max is planning to release their content, if they're going to do it week by week or if they're going to release everything at once. So there's a real possibility they can milk this Snyder Cut thing to where they release the 6 episodes week by week, and we just have almost a month and a half of people just talking about this, exclaiming it. That would be insane, but really smartest business decision by Warner Brothers, because the fans involved with the Snyder Cut, whether you have the good ones or the bad ones, you got to admit they found a way to really push something forward, getting Subway involved, making billboards in Times Square. Now you have those guys on your side promoting your streaming service. This would not have been possible without HBO Max. If HBO Max was not a thing, I really doubt we would have ever gotten to see the Snyder Cut pumping in almost $30 million on your most failed movie in your DCU. Like that's insane to me that's happening.
Yeah.
Tyler?
Yeah, for sure. Well, actually, before we go to you, Tyler, I do want to say, like, I think the thing, like, why they're willing to put so much money into it is, like, when you look at it, it is such a bare bones version of the film. Like, it's basically like a handful of shots and a bunch of storyboards. So it's like, if they even wanted to release it, they would have to put some sort of money into it. And then at that point, it's like, well, if we're going to do this thing, we might as well do it right. And I wouldn't be surprised if they put more than $30 million into this thing. Sure. You know? They know they're going to get the money back for sure. Like, the marketing is already there. They don't really have to do a whole lot on that front. Yeah. So, like, they're going to get an influx of subscribers for HBO Max. It's DC, so it's going to appeal to, like, genuinely everyone. You're getting Ben Affleck back as Batman for, like, one proper send-off. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, the whole crew and everything, and you know, paired with Snyder's fan base and everything. And so it's like, they'll make their money back. So if they go over a little bit, like maybe into the $40-50 million range, I wouldn't be surprised. Because I don't want them to skimp out on VFX. Like, if they're going to do this, like, I'd almost rather, this is a weird thing to say, but it's like, I'd almost rather see the storyboards than, like, a film with really shitty VFX. You know? Like, because then it just shows you, like, okay, well, we potentially could have done better had we just released it this way in the first place, but I don't know. Tyler, what do you make of this?
No, I agree. I mean, with everything y'all have said, genius marketing, for sure. It's going to get a lot of people to subscribe to HBO Max. And I've been excited following this whole release of the Snyder Cut thing. It's been a lot of fun on Twitter. A little annoying, but fun. Yeah. But, you know, even though it's very exciting, I kind of had to take a step back. And I was like, how good is the Snyder Cut going to be, though? Because Justice League is a terrible movie. Like, it's one of the worst superhero movies I've ever seen. Yeah. Like, how much better is it actually going to be? I really don't think it's going to be that much better. And to me, it's also kind of confusing. It's weird that they're releasing it because over half of those actors playing the characters aren't even going to come back. Like, I don't think Henry Cavill's coming back to play Superman.
Really? Because they're in contract negotiations for him to, like, continue playing Superman now.
Well, when I was watching the whatever Verge or Verve or whatever, the live stream that Snyder was doing. Vero, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Henry, it sounded like he was done. Like, he was kind of like, I wish we could have gotten, you know, a proper trilogy or
That's
a proper
the vibe theme. I got.
And it sounded like he was kind of done playing the character. And then, like, Ben Affleck's done as Batman. Ezra Miller, he's probably done too for what he did. I mean, we haven't heard anything yet. But he's probably done. Yeah. So you only have Cyborg. What the heck? Like, he's not coming back.
Like, listen, I feel so bad for Ray Fisher.
I do too.
To me, he was the best part of Justice League. Hands down, he was the most interesting character. He gave the best performance. He was at the heart of Snyder's vision, from what I understand. So it's like, man, if we get a chance to see more of Ray Fisher as Cyborg, please, that would be the best thing to come out of the Snyder Cut being released.
Yeah, I agree. But so you only have Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa who are going to reprise their roles in sequels or whatever. Yeah, great.
Yeah,
but like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird that this is happening. I'm happy it is, but it's just weird. Yeah. It's very, very strange.
Yeah. My friend George brings up an interesting point. He says Ben is getting yoked again, and that is interesting. He does look more in fit than he did like a couple of months ago. You know, so like, does this mean that they're going to be shooting additional, pickups and whatnot.
I
I've always thought that they would, because and they would just treat it like
100%.
reshoots. Yeah. I mean, if they're going to add additional lines of dialogue, then I think it's totally within the realm of possibility to, assume that they're going to do pickup shots. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I just go ahead, Kaleena.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I think that would be like a contractual nightmare, one, because I don't know if he's still locked into some sort of contract with that. So that would be a lot of really interesting negotiations, and a good percentage of his new budget would have to go to paying the talent. I think so. I think that's a little messy, but I agree that reshoots are probably necessary and are probably going to happen. But especially for Ben, man, who's like going through it. He's dealing with what I believe to be a very fake public relationship with Ana de Armas right now. Like, the dude's busy, going through stuff. To put him emotionally through like putting on the suit and being Batman again, and then being like, "Psych, I'm never coming back after this." I just think that would be a little hurtful. Me personally, a little hurtful.
Well, here's the other side to that. This Snyder cut is coming out the same year that we're getting Matt Reeves as the Batman. And so it's like, how would you like to be Matt Reeves, where it's like, okay, we're moving forward, we're doing this own, new Batman thing, or how'd you like to be Robert Pattinson? It's like, oh, okay, I'm going to give it my all, I'm going to do my take on Batman, and then you're like, okay, well, before we see that, we're going to go one more time back into the past to see Ben Affleck as Batman, and then everyone will probably get all up in arms about the fact that he didn't stay on to be Batman. And so it's like, I don't know. I feel like there could be a weird sort of effect there, but then again, maybe this could be another like situation where it's like Joker, where because the Reeves films are so self-contained, which is what I'm kind of banking on, doing this isn't really going to affect it, in the big picture.
It'll be good marketing, if anything else, because people will be then, by default, they'll be talking about Reeves' upcoming movie, and I think curiosity will kill the cat. I think people will go see it. I am thrilled for Reeves's Batman. I could not be more behind it. I could not be more ready for it. So
once that first trailer hits, people are going to lose their minds.
Yeah,
they're going to be like, it's going to be just like Joker.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Zeke Gonzalez Anzaldi also adds, do you think we'll ever get the Flash movie? I hope they recast Ezra. Dude, right there with you, man. I've never been a fan of Ezra Miller being cast as the Flash. That was the weirdest casting decision, like one of the weirdest casting decisions in like recent memory. So like, I've never really dug that. So I am 100% okay with them casting it. I do think we will get the Flash movie with Andy Muschietti directing. I think he's pretty hard at work on that right now. When it happens, I have no idea, but I think they gotta really consider recasting Ezra. Tyler, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. And it's not just because of what he did. I'm like you. I've never liked him as Flash. To me, Ezra Miller's a lot like, I think he's a much better actor than Dane DeHaan, but Ezra Miller only like his skill set.
Pony.
His skill set's only applicable to certain movies. Like we need to talk about Kevin, Stanford Prison Experiment, like those.
Perks.
He's really good in those.
Yeah.
Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Yeah.
But like he's not really like this. I can't see him as the Flash, like this huge leading man in a blockbuster. So I hope they do recast him. I think they will.
Yeah, for sure. Kaleena, I know you're definitely on that train.
I do, without trying to get too controversial, I do believe that any kind of video that surfaces on Twitter, all sides should be considered. So after its initial like, Ezra Miller beat a woman, I didn't really look into it further, so I don't know what news may have developed since then, but based on the video I saw, my interpretation was it looked pretty plain that he went and hit a lady, which ain't cool. So I think he should be recast. I just don't really care for him. I only recently watched Perks of Being a Wallflower, and I fucking hate teen movies, man. All their problems. Ferris Bueller and I think Fast Times at Ridgemont High are like the two teenage movies I like. So maybe that movie just wasn't going to be something I liked anyway. But Ezra just in general doesn't really impress me that much. So if there is someone else who is better fit for that role, if there's a young actor out there who's like dreaming of being the Flash, I think the opportunity should be given to them.
Yeah, I totally agree. Go with an unknown. Someone who's like up and coming. Maybe
how we got him.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, that is exactly how we got Hemsworth. But yeah. Oh, anyways, Chris. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Ezra?
Well, this might be where the Snyder Cut might work in its favor and do its magic, because Zach was very vocal about the portrayal of Ezra's Flash in the movie was way different than what he was going for. Joss Whedon really used him to ham up the scenes, comedic effect, make him a wimp. Like, what fan asked him specifically about that line where he's like, "I just push people and run away," and Zach's like, "He was nothing like that in my cut." So in the Snyder Cut, he could be cool, but on the flip side of that, Ezra, I'm really open to the possibility of him being recasted. Heck, they're already recasting Iris West, which is his love interest, which we'll see in the Snyder Cut by the original actress. She was going to be played by, I forget her name, but she was in Neighbors too, and yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know her name.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. But yeah, I kind of hoping they recast him, but part of me it's looking like they're not going to. If they didn't do it for Mara, I don't know if they're going to do it for Barry Allen.
They still could do it for Mara.
We'll see.
I think who's the one that everyone was throwing? Teresa Palmer, right? Was the one people were throwing around as a recasting for her. I think that's an excellent choice. I'd love to see that. Okay, George sends in a super chat and he says, "Into the Batverse with Bale, Ben, and Pat. Sign me up, sir." Are we talking live action or are we talking animated? Either way, I'm 100% in. Do you guys think that that's like even remotely possible? Is that something we could get like down the road?
If you made it a Batman Beyond movie and the theme of it was mentoring, and then Bruce uses that as like telling stories from his past to help Terry McGinnis, you could possibly do that. Seeing young, which is Pattinson, grizzled Affleck, and then you would have old with, I don't know, the guy who does the voice usually. I forget his name.
Kevin Conroy.
That'd be the only way I could see it done.
Yeah, I think if it was animated, you would have to bring back Kevin Conroy in some capacity because he is the definitive voice of Batman. Kaleena, is this something that you'd be interested in?
I'm definitely intrigued by the idea, but I have to say that, like, personally, Bale is my Batman. He's not only the one that generationally I grew up with, but in my opinion, I think he's embodied the character the best. And full disclosure, I say this as a person who does not read comics, so please don't come after me.
Blasphemy.
How dare you? How dare you not read comics?
So if it was live action, it would like literally hurt me to see Christian Bale back. I don't think I would feel fulfilled. I think I would just feel empty and sad, the same way I did after Dark Knight Rises. So that was a joke, guys. That's fine.
No, I know. I was side-eyeing you a little bit there.
I didn't know if you were serious or not.
I liked the Dark Knight Rises a lot. So I don't know. Yeah, like I wouldn't not go see it, but it's not necessarily something I would get online and petition for.
Yeah. Who's that? Tyler, would you?
No, I'm more.
This is coming from the resident Spider-Verse hater over here.
What?
So.
Yeah. I'm sorry. But I'm sorry. Yeah.
He has
Give me
no
a
soul.
Batverse. You know, a better one would be like if you can keep Affleck. And give me Val Kilmer and George Clooney. I'd watch that.
That'd be fun.
That'd be fun. That'd be hilarious. But no, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Well, Tyler can go to hell. You and your lack of a capital T. You and your lack of a capital T there. Okay, next question from I Am Phil. What franchises that haven't had a movie yet deserve one? So are you talking about like films that are one-off or like that have been rebooted without sequels or whatnot? I guess Kaleena, I'll toss it to you first. Feel free to take this one as you will. Okay, fine, Tyler.
I've got a few.
Okay, Tyler, we will go to you first. Yes.
These are just off the top of my head. I'm sure I can think of better ones. So, like, I guess Tron, maybe? Tron Legacy?
Yeah, that's the big one.
That'd be a great one. This is not really a franchise, but, like, The Nice Guy is, like, a sequel to that.
Yeah, The Nice Guys. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, those are the only two I can think of off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's a lot more.
I'm going to say something that's, like, a little saucy. I would still be curious to see what Universal would have done with their monster universe.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
Right?
Okay.
That's so one.
I didn't hate The Mummy. Okay, I didn't think it was great, but I didn't leave the theater being like, this is a bad movie. And didn't they have like Johnny Depp involved? Like they had a really interesting cast of players involved. and I'm sad that the box office is what determined whether or not that vision got to play out. So in an alternate timeline, I would love to see how the Monster Universe came out.
I second that. I think Tyler and I both second that because we are big defenders of the Tom Cruise movie.
Movie's awesome.
I think
it's amazing.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Like when they're not trying to like shoehorn, Russell Crowe and like the dark universe into it. But I think it's actually I think it's a good movie. A lot of it reminded me of like Uncharted and stuff like that. So I don't know. Chris, what is your opinion on this? The franchises that haven't had a movie yet that deserve another one.
So I guess if we're going with one-offs that I thought could have been cool franchises, but we didn't get, and one I'll always harken to Chronicle. That's just one I like what they were setting up in that universe. I would have liked to have seen more on what they were going to delve into, the origin of the powers, where it comes from, if there's other ones out there. But the other one, District 9, I thought that would have been such a cool world to explore, and the way they ended it, I thought they were really setting up something more at District 10, and that never happened.
Yeah, that is a good one. District 9 definitely should have gotten more. But, with Neil Blomkamp's track record from, Elysium to Chappie, maybe he needed those two like middling films to come back and do like another District 10 or what. I have no idea, but I agree with you. Tyler said the one that was the big one for me, which was Tron. Sorry, I have two more. So other than Tron, which is the big one for me, John Carter. I really dug that film, even though it's kind of campy and cheesy. I think Andrew Stanton did a really good job of bringing that world and the novels of John Carter to life. So it was just interesting and different. So like, I don't know. I'd like to see more of that. But then the other one,
Stormbreaker.
I'd like to. Stormbreaker, really? Wow, that's a deep cut. That was a bizarre movie with Mickey Rourke.
Weird.
Dude, what was that?
Yeah. Only it was weird.
Yeah. No, and I don't know if this would necessarily work, but I think it's just because I'm such a big fan of Joseph Kosinski, Oblivion. I absolutely love Oblivion. So seeing more of that universe would have been amazing. Honestly, Joseph Kosinski should have done in one of the Alien prequels. Wow. Like he just has that vision and that just like distinct style that it's breathtaking. I love the way his movies look. Thank you for the question. So, okay, the Geeky Gator asks, what do you think the next billion-dollar movie will be? That's a good one, because I don't know
like
if
upcoming
we're gonna see one this year.
Release dates?
Yeah, well, I mean, just in, I guess with all the movies that are set to come out either this year or next, what is the next billion-dollar film on the horizon? I think this is a good question because it is.
That's a good question. Yeah,
it's tricky.
Any
of you guys?
I wish I could believe it would be Wonder Woman 1984. I wish that I'm just excited for it, period. I think it looks so fun. I love Wonder Woman. I am, as a girl, I'm very biased for that movie existing, period. So I will put that out there. I love Pedro Pascal. I think he's going to be so fun to watch. I'm excited to see what way they bring Chris Pine back. So I think there's a lot of elements that can make it perform very well at the box office. But I don't think it'll be anywhere close to $1 billion mark. Is there an answer that we can pick that's not a superhero movie and that isn't part of a franchise?
Oh,
I mean,
no.
That's how I feel like it's a cop out, right? Like, I wish I could say Tenet, right?
Well, I don't know. Well, you have to, if nothing else is opening out and like Tenet owns the theatrical space, I think it is within the realm of possibility. But then you also have to factor in that, some people aren't going to want to go to the movies because of what's going on right now. And then also with like limited seating, it gets a little dicier. So like Tenet could do it. I correct me if I'm wrong. Have any of Nolan's films hit $1 billion?
Dark Knight.
Dark Knight.
Other than Dark Knight, I don't think.
And I think Crisis did also.
Any of his original This Is My Idea films, I don't think they have. I think Inception probably got the closest.
Yeah, well, and if this is 800 or something like that.
Yeah, and if this is like kind of shaping up to be another like one of those movies, like everyone's talking about it, maybe it could. I'm not going to put my money on it. I think you're probably right with Wonder Woman 1984 being the next one if it releases. I would also throw in Halloween Kills, especially if that's coming out in October.
$1 billion?
I mean, I think it's possible.
Wow.
Like people, like horror movies can do really well.
Trust me.
Yeah,
I'm probably.
I know. I'm gonna defer to you, Mr. Horror fan.
Sorry. Yeah, I got my Chucky figures here. I even got little Michael over here. If you want to talk about it, but even I gotta be realistic. $1 billion. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you take that argument that they dominate it, and I mean, people want an escape, and just like amusement parks or thrill rides, horror movies are those type of escapes. So I could see it. The ones I lean forward to that I would want to make $1 billion, and I think maybe has the potential, is Godzilla versus Kong. I know the last Godzilla movie didn't do bonkers; it actually did less than they were hoping for. But I think that just that versus tagline is something that'll really draw people in. Or Dune. I hope Dune.
Oh yeah.
I know it might not, but I would hope.
Listen, that would be amazing if Dune did that kind of money. It's not
know.
going to do that kind of money. It's just way too niche. I think they have a long road ahead of them of marketing that film so it's accessible to a mainstream audience. I would agree with you on Godzilla versus Kong if No Time to Die was not opening the week beforehand. No Time to Die, I think No Time to Die and Top Gun Maverick are the two films that I think at the end of this year will probably be the closest to hitting that $1 billion mark. Now that's if everything is according to plan and whatnot. So
if they market it as the final Bond, I can see that happening.
Yeah. Well, even if they don't, they're marketing as Daniel Craig's final Bond, and so it's like that alone will get droves of people into the theater. You know, Tyler, do you have a choice for this one?
Yeah, man, I agree. I mean, I never thought Tenet was going to crack $1 billion without a pandemic. So I don't think Tenet will. I think it could come close. I know. I mean, it was going to get up in the high, 800, maybe 700, but
Griff, I'll be right back. I got to plug in my charger for the camera.
Okay, you're fine. Yeah, everyone's computer's dying. It's all good. Don't worry.
But I think, I do think it will be. Yeah, if Wonder Woman keeps its date in August, I don't know because I don't know if people are going to want to go to the movies. I think it'll be. Either, I think Black Widow could make money just because Captain Marvel made so much money. I didn't think Captain Marvel would make that much money. I don't want Black Widow to be that. I'd rather it be Bond or Top Gun. I'm really leaning toward Bond for some reason, though. I just think a ton of people are going to go see that movie.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, the trailers have been amazing, super exciting.
Yeah,
I mean, Bond films traditionally do gangbusters worldwide.
Yeah.
It's Daniel Craig's final film. I mean, yeah, sure, you have a Godzilla movie coming out the week after, but I don't think that's going to really affect those numbers. Also, Bond is going to eat Black Widow alive. The fact that those two movies are coming out around the same time is not good for Black Widow. At least, when Black Widow was coming out the beginning of May and Bond the beginning of April, there was a month-long buffer there, but and then Bond coming out around Thanksgiving, going into the holiday season, it's just going to keep raking in the figures. So I agree. I think that film is probably, obviously I am biased because I'm a freaking fan of the franchise, but I do think that the stars are aligning for it to do really well. Should we be, in a state where we can go to the movies and whatnot? It could get delayed till next year. I have no idea. But
yeah.
Okay, next question here from Shifty. He asks, and let me add Chris back to the stream here. He asks, most anticipated upcoming film other than Tenet. I'm still waiting to hear about. I'm thinking of Ending Things, Charlie Kaufman's third film. Last time I checked, it's releasing on Netflix in 2020. Yeah, that's listen, Charlie Kaufman is always a filmmaker that gets me excited. So I think that's a great outside the box pick there for sure. Kaleena, let's start with you. What's your most anticipated film outside of Tenet?
I mean, we've covered them. No Time to Die, I'm very excited for. Wonder Woman 1984, I'm really excited for. I am excited for Dune, and I will add the tiniest tidbit that I think the Timothée Chalamet stands will show up and give their money. I think that people end up making a little bit more because of that. Black Widow's fine, whatever. I'm trying to think of a smaller one that
we got David Fincher's new movie coming out.
Oh, yes.
Fincher's Netflix film.
Oh, yeah.
Mink.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'll just go with the ones that we named. There's nothing off the top we haven't been talking about that's just in my brain.
Yeah, sure. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I want to see Dune. I want to see Godzilla vs Kong. But the one maybe nobody will mention, but I am pretty excited for is the SpongeBob movie. I really dig the animation style. I'm nostalgic for those characters, so I'm excited for that.
I will. I'm glad you mentioned that because I love each of the SpongeBob movies have been a blast for me. Even like the most recent one, The Sponge Out of Water, I think is probably the best movie they've released. That was absolutely freaking hilarious.
It's one of the best animated movies of all time.
Whoa!
Incredible.
Oh
That
my
movie is
God.
incredible.
Wow.
You should watch
All
the
right.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Tyler, what is your most anticipated film for the rest of the year outside of Tenet? Even though I don't think Tenet is your most anticipated.
No, I mean it's Top Gun Maverick. I mean that is my number one most anticipated movie of the year. I cannot wait.
For this year?
Huh?
Is it still slated for this year?
Yeah, December.
Christmas, like right before Christmas. Yeah. So
Okay.
that one and like two other just quick shout outs. I read both of these books and I'm even more excited for the movies. The Last Duel, Ridley Scott's movie with Adam Driver, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. It's gonna be awesome. And then
Wait,
Cherry, the Russo brothers' new movie. I just read that book with.
Oh.
I'm scared, but I'm excited because that book is so crazy. I can't picture Tom Holland as the. That's gonna be like have to be a really hard R movie. So I'm very curious to see how that turns out.
I'm excited for Cherry too, but I somehow have lived under a rock and have not heard about
The Last Duel.
That sounds
Oh, it's gonna
Are
be
those photos of them where they look like knights?
Yeah, dude, it's gonna be
Oh,
awesome.
that's okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it was. The pictures were kind of funny, but I'm hoping that it looks good, like in the context of the film. No, those are great picks. I think. I mean, obviously for me, I think David Fincher's just my God, it has been so long since a David Fincher movie. It's not fair. It is just not fair. Go ahead.
No, well, speaking on that David Fincher thing, you're not worried about it going to Netflix? Like, how did you feel about Martin Scorsese's movie going to Netflix and stuff? Do you think it'll make a difference?
Too. The Coen brothers did it. Ballad of Buster ended up being nominated. So I with big name directors, I don't think that Netflix is a strike against them.
No, if anything, I feel like they're the studio that's going to front the money to make their projects. So, and David Fincher is like a guy who's like very much on like the cutting edge of like where film is going, and so like this is like
Netflix.
him. Yeah, like he's gonna absolutely, and especially with Mindhunter, like he's gonna do a thing for Netflix, no problem. No, the other one that recently, I mean, like I was excited for it beforehand, but seeing the trailer for it really just like skyrocketed my interest is Spike Lee's new film, The Five Bloods. That looks. That's gonna be Spike Lee tackling a Vietnam War movie. Like that excites me. That really excites me, and it looks like he's putting a lot of style and like there'll be some interesting action, and obviously he'll tackle social issues as he always does in a really gut punch way. So yeah, looking forward to that one. Okay, Eric Thorpe has asked this question a few times, so I want to just like present it to everyone. I know probably not all of you have played the Uncharted games, but like how would you rank the Uncharted games? Okay, has anyone played those games outside of myself?
I only played the first two.
No. Okay. The quick answer,
just let
Eric,
you have it.
Yeah, okay. The quick answer, Eric, is Uncharted 4. One of the best video games I've ever played is number 1. Uncharted 2, another one of the best video games I've ever played in second place. And then I go 3 and then 1. I don't think the games are like, there's no bad game. They're all excellent. It's just like certain games are better than others. And so I think 4 and 2 just really, they knock it out of the park. Especially 4, man. That, why it frustrates me that we'll never get a movie as good as those games because Sony's doing God knows what with the property. It's infuriating.
I don't know if you saw, but when Holland did his like Marvel trivia night on Instagram, maybe it was like a month ago, he said that he had been on set on day 1 of the Uncharted movie when it got shut down because of Corona. So they were like actually legitimately in production for Uncharted at the time this happened. So I don't know if that makes you feel sad or happy, but that's the most progress I've heard they've made on that movie.
Right. I don't like that Ruben Fleischer is attached to it. I mean, I've said this before. Yeah, he is Sony's Ron Howard, and even that is giving Ruben
so
Fleischer too much credit. I say it. He's just the company man. He's who they go to when they have no idea what to pick. Like, what happened to Travis Knight? That was a genius pick.
Yeah, man.
So, or even what's his name? Stranger
Doug
Things
Liman.
guy. Or Doug Liman, my God,
Yeah.
or Sean Levy, like all three of those would have been way better than Ruben Fleischer. Like, I don't know what the fuck that's about. That's just crazy. But anyways, okay, guys, super chat here from Zaya. Thank you so much for sending in the super chat, man. He says, thoughts on the female director issue at the Oscars and how would you fix it? That's a great question. It's something we've actually talked about a lot on the Frontrunners show. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? All right, actually, Kaleena, let's start with you.
Yeah, I got thoughts.
Yes.
I hope so.
I'm about to finish about to start my senior year in film school, and so
Nice.
I'm kind of on the front lines of like seeing the amount of talent that's out there and the amount of desire. And I don't know the statistics of like men to women at my school, but every class I've taken is dominated by female filmmakers, and there's a lot of directors, there's cinematographers, there's editors, there's writers. There is a never-ending pool of talent and people who want to do it, and the opportunity still just doesn't quite exist. And it's not only in the film industry. There's imbalance everywhere. It's going to be in every job. And it's kind of funny this question got asked because literally last week, one of my professors, who has been really kind, really complimentary towards me, randomly reached out into my personal email, sent this long email of all these pieces of advice that he was giving me. And one of the things he said was, I want to give you advice as a woman in the industry. He said, it's dominated by men. Most men are a bunch of assholes. So the way that you can be successful is don't talk as much. You're a woman.
Wow.
You talk more than men do. They don't like that. So don't talk as much. And then once you get in their circle, change the conversation. And that kind of threw me through a loop, man, because I understand the logic in what he's saying.
Sure.
So his sentence is the one sentence problem for it, right? Is like, well, women talk too much and they have too many feelings and this and this, and they got to be quiet. Well, women have been being quiet. That's the problem. So
yeah.
It's definitely problematic. It's not like anyone is unaware of it. I think we've made great strides recently. I think there's a lot more female filmmakers that are, getting more funding for their films. They're getting award nominated. I loved Honey Boy that Alma Harrell did. Last year. Smart was great with Olivia Wilde. I think it helps having like someone even like Olivia Wilde, even though she's not necessarily quite an A-list, she might be more of a B-list. People know her name, they recognize her. So I think we're definitely on the right path. I don't think it's nearly as bad as it used to be. And just from my direct experience, it is easier for women to get these opportunities. So I think the way to fix it is to just keep creating. Don't stifle yourself. Find platforms. Quibi exists now, which whatever you want to say
So
about
successful.
They're looking for content, put stuff up on YouTube, on Vimeo, start small and grow your audience and get bigger. So I don't know. I think we'll be fine. I think we just got to keep putting our work out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I guess there's other, you see it floating out there around, and I've never really agreed with it because I 100% agree with you. The best way to like reach that level is just to create break through that way and whatnot. But it was like there obviously the question comes, should they separate it into male and female categories? And I
hate that.
I hate that idea because then it's like it almost feels like it's like condescending in a way, and it just doesn't sit right with me. It's like the best female directors should be able to compete with the best male directors, and like the Academy, if they see all the movies, which I mean that's giving them a lot of credit because we all know they don't, should be able to they should nominate the people who are the best filmmakers. Like I would have argued that Alma Harrell or Greta Gerwig should have gotten a nomination last year at the Oscars over Todd Phillips. Like that's I and a lot of that comes down to just the Academy sucking. But
the problem with that too is a lot of times, so if they separated the category, there are going to be years where there's not enough women to fill the slots based on Oscar bait movies, right? There's going to be a gazillion that are out there. but the category wouldn't get filled. And then in the same way that a woman should be able to achieve and be equally as good as their male coworker, like you're saying, like Greta could have been nominated with that people, the women should also be allowed that equal opportunity to fail, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So like if a woman makes a film and it's good, it should be nominated and not just put in a woman category because she's a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Women make bad movies too. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
the
100% agree.
has to exist for both the good and the bad, because I think that's kind of the problem with like the feminist equal opportunity movement is a lot of times the people that are vocalizing themselves come off only at the rate of success and they don't talk about the other side of it. So yeah, I agree. I think the split category would be silly and kind of nonsensical and would not help either party.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I guess kind of jumping off of that, another category that people have talked about that I've always wondered, like, could it work? And I think it could, but the best ensemble category, there, like, what do you do when there are years when there's only like truly like 2 or 3 ensemble films? Right. It's like, do you only limit that category to 3 nominees or what? I think it gets a little dicey there for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the next one. Thank you for the super chat, man. That was excellent question. Really glad you brought that up. So Carl asks, have you guys seen Swordfish or Life of
David Gale?
David Gale, yes.
Yeah, I just watched that like a month ago. Yeah.
So
it's a good movie.
What are your thoughts on it?
Good movie. Very good. Kevin Spacey and Kate Winslet. Pretty cool movie. Shot where I'm from, Austin, Texas. So kind of cool.
Texas.
I live in Austin.
Oh yeah. I miss it. I miss it so much. And Swordfish is kind of weird, but it's all right.
Yeah,
Swordfish
Chris.
is a Travolta movie, is that?
Yeah. I remember seeing Swordfish when I was young, and I don't plan on going back to it. I haven't seen that other movie, so can't really give you thoughts on there, unfortunately.
Isn't there just like a shameless scene, like no reason that it's in there, but like Halle Berry is just like topless for absolutely no reason?
Yeah.
It's just like she's just chilling there, and it's just like, why? Like, why is that in there? So weird. Okay, Ganya, I sent in a super chat. Thank you so much, man. I must have missed this a little bit earlier, but thanks for sending that in. Which self-aware AI would most likely win if both were fighting each other for control of humanity? Skynet from Terminator, STEM from Upgrade. Great question. I have no idea, so I'm going to defer to someone else. But who wants to go first on this one?
See, okay, this will be hard because it depends on which version of Skynet you're going with, because they have had multiple versions of Skynet, even what is it named now in the most recent movie, Legion. But I'll just go with the main one, which is Terminator 2. I would say Skynet would win because STEM is more cyborgs, so they're based off humans going in. That would be my guess. You guys?
I don't have a good argument, so sounds good.
Oh, come on.
No, I agree. I think it'd be a pretty good fight, but Skynet, I mean, it wins every time.
Yeah.
Skynet just knows everything. That's the problem with it. Yeah. If we're talking about like whether a STEM-controlled human like Logan Marshall Green in Upgrade could take down a Terminator?
No.
Maybe. I'd give him maybe a slight edge, but that only slightly. That's just because it depends on which. Also, it depends on which Terminator you're.
Yeah,
fighting,
you got the liquid
like,
one.
Yeah. Then it gets like even dicier. So, okay, you know what? You're probably right. Skynet probably wins that one. So, all right. So moving on to the questions here, guys. As always, if you want your question answered immediately, super chat is available to you. Not required. We're gonna try and take a few more questions here. So keep sending them in. They've been great so far. I am Phil asks, do you think the TMNT movie is actually going to happen? They were supposed to start filming in December. Chris, I believe you know more about this than any of us. So
yeah, because I just stay glued to movie news, and for some reason it's engraved in my brain. But so what happened is the producers of A Quiet Place, they were on a red carpet event, and they just like said it unwarranted. In fact, there was like a partner producer, and as soon as one of the producers said it, the other one looked at him like, shut up, we're not supposed to say anything. And even the creators are saying it's gonna happen, and it was supposed to happen in December. Who knows why it didn't go down? They're trying to go more gritty and faithful. My main guess is recently there was a deal with Nickelodeon and Netflix to provide more content. That's also where we got the Rugrats movie that was coming out swiped out of their calendar. So maybe they could be working with Netflix to do something there, or the future of the franchise, because Nickelodeon owns the Turtles. So that would be my only guess on what stopped it, is that deal with Netflix.
Yeah, for sure. Tyler, do you have any?
Or do you guys even want to see a new reboot?
Do you even want to see Turtles? Yeah.
I do.
I do.
I got them up there.
No, yeah, I do. I really like I like the Ninja Turtles, especially like even the Michael Bay movies were kind of fun. They're stupid, but they're kind of fun. And of course, like the old school ones from the '90s, those are the best to me. I like those a lot. But yeah, I'm down. I'm totally down for another one.
Yeah, Kaleena.
I think the franchise is very rebootable. You know, I think there's always going to be like a new generation that's excited for that franchise, and I think there's so many different ways you can do it that are still fun. So yeah, if there's an audience for it and there's a creative team behind it that's excited for it, then why not?
Just no Michael Bay producer, please.
Just no Michael Bay producer. Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen what happens when we detach Michael Bay from his like prominent franchises. We get the best Bad Boys ever made, and we get the best Transformers movie ever made. So it's like clearly he might be the issue. So yeah, take that as you will. Okay, Kieran Langer asks, what are your guys' favorite horror movies of the past decade? I know, Kaleena, you're going to struggle with this one because you avoid this genre by and large. But Tyler, let's start with you. What are your favorite horror movies of the past decade?
So just to throw out a few, the first Insidious, great movie. Evil Dead remake, great movie.
Is that this past decade?
Yeah, Insidious came out in 2011.
Oh, okay.
No, not Insidious. The Evil Dead remake.
Yeah, 2013. Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
then I mean, The Conjuring's great. Hereditary. Yeah, probably those.
All right, Chris. Obviously, Child's Play, but other than that,
you gotta hate on me for liking it.
It's a bad movie.
Dig it.
Man.
It's
a bad
I like
movie.
it too, man. I like it too.
Okay, thank you, Tyler. Did you see the latest Child's Play reboot?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Oh, I think
you
sorry.
No, Kaleena. Have you seen it?
No.
That face.
I don't like dolls or kids.
Okay.
I've seen none of the Chucky movies, and I will adamantly say that way.
Okay, then aside from that, I mean, I liked the first It movie. I thought that was really well done. I liked Get Out. A Quiet Place was really well done. Hereditary. Ready or Not was awesome. Excited to see what they're going to do with Scream on that. Conjuring as well. Just to list a few. I probably already said Conjuring.
Yeah.
Would it be a cheat to say Cabin in the Woods?
No, absolutely not.
No,
that would be my choice. Like, yeah, I like Jordan Peele's movies. I loved Quiet Place. I thought both of the It remakes were hilarious and boring and not.
Oh wow!
Wow.
I like the first one.
They were fine. I don't know. Yeah, like I'm literally just a sissy bitch. Like I can't watch it. I don't dislike the genre. I get so physically tense that I'm like sore the next day when I watch.
Oh wow!
I thought Midsommar was boring as shit. That's 2.5 hours of my life. I will never
breaking my heart here.
Oh.
It's this thing. I'm like, okay, there's flowers. Okay, someone's gonna jump off a cliff. Okay, someone's gonna beat with a rock or whatever. It was it is what it is, man. I'm gonna stick with Cabin in the Woods and let us move on.
Well, that's a good one. I think for me, Midsommar. I love the Halloween reboot remake 2018.
That's pretty good.
That was great. Yeah, I mean it's hard not to go with like the Conjuring and like the Insidious movies, or at least Insidious one. And gosh, what else? Oh, The Witch. Oh man, that movie really effed me up.
It's really good one.
So yeah, that and Hereditary.
Can I throw in The Haunting of Hill House? I know it's not a movie, but
no, but that's a great yeah.
Dr. Sleep then.
Dr. Sleep. Oh yeah.
That is one of I didn't watch Dr. Sleep because Jacob Tremblay is my favorite child actor, and like 4 people called me when that movie came out. Hey, he died in like a really horrible way.
It's bad. It's really bad.
It's funny because you
sort of handle it. So I didn't watch Dr. Sleep because I didn't want to see him die. But The Haunting of Hill House, I think, is some of the best like slow burning storytelling I've seen, because whenever a limited series comes out the first question I ask myself is, could this have functioned better as like a 2-hour movie? And I don't feel that way about Haunting of Hill House. I'm really excited for season 2. As I understand it, they're kind of gonna flip the story around, and a lot of the original cast is coming back, but as different characters, kind of like American Horror Story. So if I wasn't picking a movie, that would be my number one choice. And Invisible Man too. I know that's this decade, but I was really impressed by Invisible Man.
Yeah, Invisible Man is like definitely it's definitely going to remain one of my favorites of this decade. It just really set the precedent for horror going forward. I think it's a great movie. Okay, Red Panda 11504 asks best picture predictions. So he says Tenet, Emma, The Invisible Man, The Gentleman, No Time to Die, Soul, Black Widow, and Dune. All right, let's go around the table here. Who wants to start first? What are your guys' best picture predictions?
Well, do you think they actually are going to postpone the Oscars?
Please.
Yeah, I mean, the Oscars aren't going to take place until probably next April. I don't think they're going to cancel them. That doesn't seem likely. I think they will, allow more like VOD type movies to compete, films that don't have to get a theatrical run to compete and whatnot, and they'll also just like push back the cutoff date to probably like, I don't know, end of January, maybe mid-February, something like that, and then we'll get the actual ceremony in like probably April. But I find it very hard to believe that they would just scrap it altogether, because that's never happened. Maybe it's happened once, like way back in the day, but like that has never happened. I can't see them doing that. So anyways, who wants to go first on this one?
Tyler.
I mean, I can think of a few. I'm going to miss a lot, obviously, but like I know I don't agree with everything that he said, but like the French Dispatch will probably be nominated for sure. West Side Story, 100%. Man, I don't know. The Last Duel, if it comes out, I think that one will for sure be like an Oscar type movie.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. Like No Time to Die is a possibility. Maybe if it's like really good.
I'd shit my pants, man. If that actually happened, I'd lose it. If that film got like, Cary Fukunaga gets Best Director, Daniel Craig gets Best Actor, and like the film was nominated for Best, I'd cry. I'd literally cry. We already know Billie Eilish is winning Best Original Song, so we can like cut that off. We could just like, get rid of that. But that'd be amazing. Anyways, Kaleena, what are your picks?
Yeah, I agree. I would say Tenet, Dune, The Last Duel sounds like it could be. West Side Story for sure. I'm very excited to see that. I also have the same hopes for No Time to Die. That'd be great. I also really like The Gentleman. I don't know if it's Best Picture, but maybe a screenplay nod or something.
Sure.
It's hard. There's been we just got such a weird.
I know.
Because like January through May is so rare that you get anything that ends up becoming a contender, and so all we got prior to the pandemic was like those weird movies that you're kind of supposed to forget about. So it's hard to say what I think a Best Picture lineup would look like. It could end up being one of those years where they only do like 5 nominations instead of the 8 or 10 that they usually do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Chris?
Tenet, just based off the track record Christopher Nolan has. Dune, I would really hope gets some Oscar recognition. I think it definitely will. And
to me,
and then just because lately we've had at least one horror movie pop up in the Oscars, I would think Invisible Man does have a fair shot, especially with very little competition coming through this year. Those are the ones I'd go with.
I think Elizabeth Moss is definitely a front runner for Best Actress right now.
She did great.
I mean, there's literally been no one, and the only other person that she might be competing against is herself in Shirley. So, like, I think it might be her year. So who knows when we get later down the road. Yeah, I think Tenet, Dune probably, French Dispatch, Da 5 Bloods, Spike Lee's film, 100%.
Mank.
Yeah, maybe.
Movie.
Yeah, I have to see how that turns out first. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, West Side Story maybe, just because everyone loves Spielberg, but I don't know.
Bloodshot and call it a day.
Give it to Bloodshot. Bloodshot for Best VFX. That's what we're gonna do.
Oh my god, no.
That's Vin Diesel.
Yeah. So, my friend George sends in another super chat. Funny little chat right there. Spacey cut of House of Cards. Do we want that? Do we want the Spacey cut of House of Cards?
No,
If
Does that exist?
with this whole making content at home, I would hope they just let him start the series of him in his kitchen doing episodes.
Okay, so
Here's the thing. I would watch it. I would absolutely watch it. I'm just gonna say I would watch it. Of course, I would watch it. Like,
what if
that's
they make
crazy.
what if they make Spacey the new host of Some Good News
Oh,
at his
Why
house?
did you do that? Why did you do that?
You're the best,
Why?
man. I like that idea. I
This
like
is
that.
not okay.
Well,
Well, speak.
in general is interesting because I'm possibly gonna get so much hate for this. I don't think that when someone gets canceled or when we find out something really horrible that they've done in their lives, which are irrefutably horrible, I don't think it suddenly makes them bad at their job. So even though I can objectively say Kevin Spacey is like a piece of shit person, it's not like I suddenly think that American Beauty or Usual Suspects are bad movies or bad performances.
Oh
So,
yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
I would use my own judgment to decide, a project that he or anyone else would put out. If it looks like something that I want to watch, then I'm going to watch it. And if people want to be mad because I'm giving my money to those people, whatever. I never really got into House of Cards to begin with. I don't know why it didn't really capture my attention. So personally, if it came out, I may watch it to kind of see like if a train wreck happens. But other than that, I don't think it's really necessary in the context of the show itself.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I've always maintained that. I was like, Kevin Spacey, a horrible human being, he's done some just vile and disgusting things. I still really dig American Beauty. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, sure, rewatching it now with the context of who he is makes it a little creepier. But like, it's still. I recently rewatched it, and like Sam Mendes is just a genius. So. Anyways, real quickly here, Max talks movies. He asks if Kaleena has a channel, and she does not.
I do not. No. What? I have Twitter where it's just like a garbage pile of my thoughts at Shut Up Kaleena if you want to follow me on there. But also don't, because it's a garbage pile of my thoughts.
Mean, the main female YouTuber we have to look up to is Grace Randolph, so it kind of means you have to do it for the sake of the community.
Please start a channel.
For years, I have had people tell me I should make a YouTube channel, but I don't have calculated thoughts, it's just like whatever pops in my brain. And so there would be no format. There would be nothing that is like calculated to build up my channel. And I don't think anyone would like it. And I'm not really good at editing, and I don't know how to do cool effects and little skills for my thumbnance. I would be a terrible YouTube person.
Senior in film school, what have they been teaching you? Just kidding.
I went to community college for the first 2 years, so I really only got like 4 semesters as a film student. So,
gotcha.
Anywho, thanks for the idea, but no.
It'll happen one of these days. We'll convince you one of these days. Anyways, probably not. But Zeke Gonzalez Anzaldi asks, which MCU TV show in Phase 4 are you most excited and least excited for? I'm looking forward to Loki, but not super excited for WandaVision. Dude, reverse that, and you've got my picks. I'm really excited for WandaVision. Get rid of Loki. I don't care. He's kind of overstayed his welcome from me. But what do you guys think, Tyler?
I agree. Yeah, WandaVision is it's pretty much the only one I'm looking forward to. I'm kind of nervous for the other ones just because I wasn't really too high on The Mandalorian, and I'm kind of scared for Disney Plus's original content. I'm actually very scared for it. So
yeah, you look frightened.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm kind of optimistic about them, sort of.
Yeah, sure, Kaleena.
Yeah, like I said, just Phase 4 generally I'm not that thrilled for, but then Disney did release like that little teaser of here's what some of our shows might be looking like, and I was like, okay, you know what, it caught my attention more. WandaVision I'm psyched for. I love Elizabeth Olsen, I love Paul Bettany, and I like the idea of how it looks and them kind of being in different time periods. I think that just looks fun, and I have no earthly idea what I think the plot of the show is, which is kind of even more fun. And Falcon and Winter Soldier looks a little bit better than I thought. I just in general, I have a lot of restraint towards that because Evans is my cap. I don't care if Falcon's deserving. I don't want to see that shield on anyone else. but Mackie and Sebastian are so fun to watch together that even if maybe the content isn't really exciting to me, their chemistry might be kind of palpable. In terms of like least favorite, I'm just generally not looking forward to it. So I don't have one that tops the list of like this is going to be terrible. Well, actually, maybe Hawkeye. Do we give a shit about Red?
Oh yeah, I forgot.
I do. If it's based off of the Matt Fraction run of the Hawkeye comics, which is one of my favorite comic runs of all time. If you are interested in just reading like a really just great sort of stylized run about a guy, just a normal guy who's really good at shooting arrows, but is is on a team with a bunch of superhumans. It's really fun. So if they do that, so down.
Then you're down. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Chris.
Yeah, for me, I'm most excited would actually be Falcon and Winter Soldier, because after hearing the tidbits of where they're going with the story, that like the government's bringing in their version of a Captain America, and it's also
the U.S. agent.
Yeah, the U.S. agent. He has to prove himself, and I do like that chemistry between Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan. So I want to see that go down. I do wonder what kind of references they'll make to Chris Evans at all, if any. The least probably would have been Loki, just because I don't understand what they're doing there, if he's even going to show up in the next Thor movie. But then bringing up Hawkeye, I also saw that Haley Steinfeld might not be in it, so then that made me just lose interest.
Yeah, that's true. She would be the perfect Kate Bishop, which is like that's a pretty big casting decision. So I would have loved to have seen her doing that. Okay, certain vids, staying on superheroes right now. Certain vids ask, what do you think are the most underrated and overrated comic book films of all time? Who wants to start with this one?
Can I go?
You can go first. Go ahead. Just let your hot take fly. I already know what you're gonna say. You're gonna break my heart, but it's fine.
Endgame is not a good movie. I want to start with that. There are elements of Endgame that I love. There are moments that I'm so happy exist in the MCU, but as a whole, it's just so messy. Infinity War is my favorite in the franchise. I think it is an incredible balance of storytelling. The fact that there's like 3 main plot lines going on in Infinity War, but there's kind of like 6 different like places they're always going, and I was never forgetting to think about anything that was going on. And so I thought they handled those events so well. And moving into Endgame and the aftermath of that, I was really confident that the Russos were going to maintain that. And it just felt so messy to me. I hate Fat Thor. I like swore off Chris Hemsworth for 6 months before I finally got over it. So I think Endgame is the most overrated. Is the question for superhero movies in general or just the MCU?
Superheroes in general.
Okay,
superheroes in general.
I'm still sticking with Endgame as the most overrated. Underrated, this is going to be, everyone's going to hate me for this. I think Age of Ultron is really underrated. Better.
No, I agree. I love that movie.
People give credit for. I will say the same for Iron Man 3. I think there are...
Iron Man 3, I will agree on. Yes, okay. Iron Man 3 is very underrated. Yeah.
Age of Ultron is definitely a filler movie. It's definitely, here's some stuff that has to happen so we can move on. So maybe I'll direct my attention more towards Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3, I think, my favorite thing about it is how it highlights the importance of Tony's relationship to Rhodey, and I think that is proven factually at the end of Endgame when Rhodey is the first person at Tony's side as he's about to die. I kind of love how it shows his struggle with his own relationship with his suits and his relationship with Pepper. I love the idea of bringing the kid in and throwing him in Tennessee, and it's just like it's a bizarre environment to throw Tony in. And having him be in these like plaid shirts, you know what I mean? Like it was such a fun place to see Tony be, and that's where the reason I don't like Fat Thor is I feel like they dealt with the concept of PTSD so well in Iron Man 3 that I was disappointed that I didn't feel that way for Fat Thor. And then I liked the Mandalorian or the Mandalorian, the Mandarin. I liked the Mandarin twist in Iron Man 3. I thought it was fun, and I love Ben Kingsley in general. I liked seeing him play this loopy guy. I think Iron Man 3 is so much more fun and matters more than most people think it does in the whole spectrum of the MCU.
I think that's fair. I think when it comes to Age of Ultron, the things that I struggle with are just like the jarring tonal like inconsistencies in it. I can't speak. But like, yeah, and like I don't know. I feel like Joss Whedon wanted to go one way, and then Feige wanted to go another, and I think it's really prominent in that film. But Okay, yeah, Tyler, what are your picks?
Yeah, so man, I would go overrated. Basically anything in Phase 1, like the first Iron Man, the first Avengers.
Really?
Like I don't like.
Really?
Yeah, I don't. I think the MCU got better as it got later into like Phase 3, some Phase 2 or whatever. Underrated. I mean, there's a lot, but I would probably go the Daredevil, Ben Affleck Daredevil movie. It's fun.
You know what? You know what? I really liked that movie. I watched it a ton when it came out because my family had HBO, I think, at the time. I think that's where it was like syndicated on.
Yeah, I watched it on there too.
I saw that movie way more times than I should have. I also have like a unnatural dedication to Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. I'm always so excited when they show up in anything, and so I think I had just like a huge bias towards him. But right answer, man, I'm with you.
No, it's on Bullseye. He's awesome. Colin Farrell.
Yeah, who would have thought he'd play another big villain, the Penguin?
I know. Yes, very cool. Very cool.
I mean, okay, like, did I enjoy watching Daredevil with Ben Affleck as a kid? Yes. Can I say it's an underrated movie? No, absolutely not.
Absolutely
it's not good.
Have you seen the director's cut?
Yes, I've seen. Yes. Anyways, Chris, help me out here, man.
I don't think you're gonna like my
maintain
answer.
Sanity. You guys.
Okay, all y'all might hate me for this, but I just don't get it. Overrated. Batman Begins. I could never have gotten into it the way a lot of people did. I remember in the theater being so disappointed as a kid when that came out, thinking, this is Batman now? And then I was not excited for The Dark Knight, but when that came out, that like saved everything for me. I was like, okay, I see why this guy is doing it. But Batman Begins, anytime it pops on, I really do try to give it a fair shot, but for some reason, I just can't get into the way they start his origin in that series. So to me, overrated, and it's probably, I definitely know I'm in the minority here for that. Underrated, I'll go Thomas Jane's Punisher, because I absolutely love what they did there. And even though, who was the recent Punisher? What was his name?
John Bernthal.
Yes, he's probably the best one to do it. I still think Thomas Jane is the best movie. Go ahead. No,
you guys have just fundamentally broken me with your overrated picks. You guys have fundamentally broken me. Anyways, I think I'll give it. Well, I'm about to say something that's pretty controversial anyway, so it doesn't matter. The two I always say are really underrated or overrated, and I hate to keep going back to the MCU, but it's just like those movies are consistently praised, and I think there's more chinks in the armor than we care to admit. I think Civil War is a little overrated. Actually, it's really overrated.
Oh, okay.
And then I also think Thor Ragnarok is incredibly overrated. That movie skirts by on just having fun. There is no thematic consistency across it. Thor literally learns nothing throughout the course of that movie, and it's infuriating. And I think it's done so much better in Black Panther.
What do you think the other Thor movies are about?
The first Thor is great. The first Thor is the first
Tyler
Thor
just said they're overrated.
His eyebrows in that movie, they're not there.
The first Thor is easily the best of the Thor movies. Thor 2 is not good. I'll give you that. But I don't think Thor Ragnarok is a good movie. I think it's clashing with itself. It doesn't know whether it's trying to hammer down the theme of Asgard is a place not a people, and then it's just they shoehorn that in at the end, and then Thor has to learn that he had the power within him all along, but he doesn't really. His dad has to tell him that, and that's what makes him get his power. It's really just weird. And then they go off on this side adventure with the gladiator battle and stuff like that, and it has no bearing on the main plot, and it has no effect on what Thor ultimately learns in the movie. It's just fun. And so it's a really empty movie that contradicts itself throughout the entirety of it. So I won't go into why I think Civil War is overrated, but Thor Ragnarok for me is just down. Underrated. Yeah, I mean underrated, but again, I'll go back to the MCU. I don't mean to, but both Ant-Man movies I think are just great. Sure. They're so consistent. They know what they are. They're a nice, palate cleanser from the rest of the stuff going in the MCU, and I like how separate they are from everything else that's going on. They're very self-contained, and I mean, my God, I could watch Paul Rudd as this character all day long. So
I like how someone in the chat says Shazam underrated.
I love Shazam.
I feel like people don't appreciate Shazam.
I love Shazam.
General audiences.
Yeah, I liked Shazam. I didn't love Shazam. I just haven't really gone back and thought about it ever since I saw it. But it's
Is
good.
It because it's
I think
fun?
there's a lot of heart in it.
It's fun.
It's because it's fun. Yeah. Oh God. No. I think BVS Ultimate is an underrated movie. People don't give it the credit.
I also just want to say that Captain Marvel is terrible. It's the worst film in the MCU, and everyone associated with it, except Chris Evans and his cameo at the end, should never work again in Hollywood. And
Chris Evans show up at the end? I didn't even remember.
Yes, he does. He has a cameo. So I was careful to separate him.
Wait. Okay, where in the movie does he have a cameo?
He's in the post-credit scene.
What does he do? I thought the post-credit scene was
I don't
Samuel
even
Jackson
remember.
in space.
Okay. First of all, I don't remember this movie.
White t-shirt, long hair. It's right before. It's like basically where Endgame essentially starts. That's what it leads into.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
I didn't even remember.
Says nothing important.
Okay.
It's basically a cutscene from Endgame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I didn't. I think I've watched that movie like once, and I didn't care for it.
Once. Yeah. I tried to go back a second time, and I couldn't. I went and got a sandwich.
Fair enough.
Wow.
Okay. Tony Movie Chappie D9 asks, "Hey Griffin, I want to ask you guys, do you think that Marvel would have survived without Disney buying them, and where do you think Marvel would be at right now?" That's a good question. I always go back to the fact that I think Paramount is probably beating themselves over the head, or they're probably like kicking themselves for selling Marvel to Disney, because they did a smart move. I mean, they sold it while the property was hot. They sold it after Avengers, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it was right after Avengers.
Yeah, and then the last Paramount MCU movie was Iron Man 3. So, It was a smart business move because they got a lot of money for it, but understanding what it became, they probably should have held on to it, and I'm sure whoever made that decision at the higher ups at Paramount is probably regretting it. I think had the MCU stayed at a place like Paramount, they would have taken more risks, and we would have gotten maybe some edgier films in the universe.
True.
So it's like while Disney has certainly allowed the franchise to thrive, and it's exploded just in a way that I don't think anyone, that was kind of unprecedented. Yeah. I think Paramount really would have been a good fit for them. Whether or not they would have gotten involved and been clashing heads with Kevin Feige and whatnot, I have no idea, but there are times where I go back and I'm like, man, I really would have liked them. I would like to have seen what Paramount would have done with the MCU, but I don't know. What do you guys think about this one?
The only thing I could see different is what you mentioned is probably more mature themes, things that Disney wouldn't be willing to risk or take in. We could have seen, if this universe continued, we could have seen the more riskier stuff done that way. But then you think back to where we are now in these Disney Plus shows and then this expanded universe, that would not have been able to be getting made. And who knows, Paramount might have just milked the movies that worked. We could have been on Iron Man 5 by now or something like that. So
yeah, that's fair.
It's hard to say when they were at their peak and that's when they were sold. Who knows how they would have wanted to expand it from there. Maybe we could have gotten a Nick Fury movie.
Oh, true. Yeah. For sure. Kaleena?
Yeah, no, I think that all Disney products, whether they're like a Disney movie or like the logos just on top of it, I think that kind of cotton candy Disney fluff is still noticeable on the outsides of films. So yeah, I don't think I have any thoughts out of line of what you guys are saying. I think we would have gotten a bit more of the darker, edgier stuff, which I would have been really, really curious to kind of explore, especially with, regardless of your thoughts on Civil War, a Paramount version of them dealing with the Paris Accords and the aftermath of Sokovia, I think would have been really interesting.
That sounds really interesting because my biggest issue with Civil War is that halfway through, it stops being about the ideological confrontation and just starts being about Cap trying to save Bucky. And I'm like, okay, you're trying to shoehorn in Captain America 3 with Civil War.
Right.
Refocus your efforts. And it's why I think a Captain America 3 should have happened, and then Civil War should have been like Avengers and whatever. Yeah. So it's like that sort of like inconsistency. I feel like, had it, I mean, who knows what would have happened, but like had it been under Paramount, I feel like they would have been willing to engage with like the politics or the ideas of the time period. So, that's a great point, Tyler.
I agree with everything y'all said. Can you repeat the question one more time? Like, was it just?
It was like, do you think that Marvel would have survived if Disney hadn't bought them, and like, what do you think we would have gotten, basically?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have. It would have looked a lot different, but kind of like what Kaleena was saying. My least favorite thing about the MCU and just Disney movies in general now is how fluffy they are. Because like if you go back to the early 2000s, like movies like Holes, Freaky Friday, I know these aren't superhero movies, but like even their sports movies, like they felt like real, like with real characters, and there was more.
The Pirates,
yeah, dude, like those were so much better to me, and I just feel like we're never going to see that Disney again, which is really sad because I'd much prefer
that's probably
that.
True.
Yeah. But what we have now, it's not bad or anything. It's just different, and it feels the same. It feels very safe.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Dennis S. asks, what would you say is the movie most deserving of a rewatch? For me, it'd be Memento, Hateful Eight, or Prestige. So I guess it's a movie like maybe we haven't seen in a little bit, but like maybe we need to rewatch to like kind of reaffirm our feelings on it. That's a good question. Who wants to start with this one?
I gotta think about that.
My brain, that's a great question.
Yeah, I think. I mean, for me, the film that I hated when I first saw it and has, kind of evolved over time upon multiple rewatches, and I hate having to go back to the MCU and whatnot, but like Iron Man 3, like I truly like despised that movie for the longest time, and then like I don't know, one day I rewatched it and I was like, and everything sort of like clicked, and I'm like, oh, this is genius. I want to see more of this. So like, I think for me, that's one that definitely like kind of improved upon rewatch. And then, actually recently, it had been years since I've seen this, but like the Paris Hilton House of Wax. I remember watching that film and hating it, and absolutely hating it, because I love the Vincent Price one so much. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then I rewatched it a couple nights ago, and I was just like, I don't hate this. This is actually like pretty enjoyable. It's almost like a Saw movie with just like a different theme, and so like I love this, like the first couple of Saw movies. So, it's campy, it's cheesy, it's super dated, but like Jean, what's the director's name again? Tyler?
It's like Jean Colette Serra or something.
Oh yeah, Jean Colette Serra. Yeah. It's like
he's a good director.
Totally, you see the promise of him like as a director and the style he brings into it. And there's some seriously intense and like difficult to watch sequences in there, like especially when like the Supernatural guy's Achilles heel gets cut, and then what's her face, the main girl's finger with the plot. Man, it's brutal. It's brutal. But that one definitely improved on rewatch for me. So did that give you guys enough time to think of something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know if this is necessarily like the question that's being asked, but this was a movie that I really liked when I first saw it, and then I rewatched it recently, and it's kind of transcending time in a way. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Not that I think there's anyone that doesn't necessarily widely like that movie, but the ideas behind it, and it's coming from the mind of Charlie Kaufman, so it's kind of to be expected. Just the way that it applies now, and especially with the memory erasure aspect of the film, and kind of the idea of like a third party or government being involved in matters of our personal lives, I think it's become relevant in a way that may not have been expected when it came out in 2003, 2004. So I don't know. I don't. Maybe that's not the question that was being asked, but that was just one that I saw recently that I was like, wow, this is this is maybe one of the best movies of the 2000s.
No, I totally agree with you on that one. Actually, he did clarify his question. He did say, back to my question from earlier, I meant movies that like had a twist, and rewatching them totally changes how you view scenes. Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, now I gotta think about
that's a
that.
whole different question.
Damn you. No, just kidding. Does anyone have an answer?
Twist that makes you. I mean, the obvious answer would be like The Sixth Sense, but
yeah,
like,
I mean that's totally
something more recent. What's like a recent big twist we've had in a movie? I can't even think of one. Glass.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
I'm sorry, you mean ass? Well, going off of that, Split. I think Split's a film that's like, you know, when you rewatch it, knowing that it's tied into the Unbreakable universe, it's like, oh, it makes sense now why this guy like transforms into a superhuman. It's not just because Shyamalan's being silly. It's because, you know, he's actually like a supervillain or whatever. So like, I think that one definitely changes how you view it. Gosh. That's again a great question. I'm really struggling.
It's even harder.
Yeah. I think. Well, actually, I think you did bring up something good with Memento and The Prestige. I think The Prestige definitely changes how you view that film.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil the twist for anyone who hasn't seen it, but also like if you haven't seen it, it's like decades old. But I do think that is a movie that definitely, you know, kind of reshapes it. And then Memento, yeah, I mean, once you know the twist of that film, it's like, oh wow, okay. It's still fun going on that journey though, for sure. Enemy.
I don't think that's a good answer.
Enemy's pretty good.
Enemies one.
The Prestige is just such a good answer.
Get Out.
Yeah.
Because
the
girlfriend and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't see that. I
family.
saw that coming from a mile away, so I didn't feel like that changed anything for me.
Right. Let's see. Oh, you know, I just Colin Williams in here said Spider-Man: Far From Home, and you're actually right. If you watch like the background of that movie, you see like Jake Gyllenhaal popping up a lot. I think that does kind of reshape that film for sure. Yeah. Or it just like makes it a little bit more exciting to watch. But great question, man. Yeah, really dug that one. That was fun. Okay, Mount Lafferty asks, do you like the Mission Impossible movies?
Yes,
Absolutely.
we do.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yes. Better than the James Bond movies. Let's fight.
I'm about to kick you from this conversation. Get out of here.
Totally
no
agree.
Way.
Totally
Tyler,
agree.
you agree?
No,
100%. They're better. 100%.
They are completely different franchises, and I think
they are.
Is unfair to both sides.
Okay.
That's the diplomatic answer. The correct answer is that no, it's not, because the Mission Impossible film. Tell me one trait about Ethan Hunt. It's literally it's a vehicle for Tom Cruise. There is no characterization of that person, or at least there wasn't.
Dude, Fallout.
I was about to say.
Together.
Hold up here. I was about to say.
James Bond changes actors every like 10 years. There's nothing. There's nothing about that guy.
No. Bond. There is a character there. Like, I know who that person is. I don't know who Ethan Hunt is. I mean, outside of Fallout. I think 3 and Fallout are the only ones that try to engage with him as a person. The rest of the films are just Tom Cruise vehicles.
None of the Bond movies do that at all.
I disagree. I think
which ones?
Especially Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall and Spectre. I mean, the entire Craig era is dealing with him as a person and dealing with the fact that, he suffered a tragedy at his life, and now he has trust issues. And then now he's like, in Skyfall, we meet him as like someone who's been through the ringer a few times, and like him having to cope with his age. And
but
I
you
also
know nothing
think, like,
about his past, like nothing. Absolutely.
But that doesn't
nothing.
matter. His past
Yes,
doesn't
it does,
matter. I'm talking about him as a character, as a person. It's like, I know who Bond is as a person and where his morals are, what he believes in, and like characteristics that define someone throughout the entire filmography. I get who James Bond is. You cast someone else as Ethan Hunt, and the films don't work. Like Mission Impossible solely relies on Tom Cruise, and like. That's fine, and I love those movies, but like outside of Tom Cruise being a spy and doing daredevil stunts, I don't know who Ethan Hunt is. So it's like that's where I kind of like draw the line between saying like which franchise do I prefer. I mean, obviously I am biased because I've grown up with those films my whole life, but the infatuation with the Mission Impossible films really only started with Ghost Protocol, and that's just because they started doing outrageous stunts. And so it's like if you go into those films expecting character, you don't necessarily get it. I think Ilsa is the most fleshed out character in the entire Mission Impossible franchise because they actually try to engage with her as a person. So anyways, that's kind of where I stand on that whole debate. But anyways, I know, Tyler, you are the biggest Tom Cruise Mission Impossible fan on the planet, so I understand why you're you say what you're saying.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
But I like that. I like this. We never see you heated. This is great. I love it.
I gotta defend Tom, man. I'm sorry.
You gotta defend Tom. No, it's okay. Go ahead. You can finish what you were gonna say.
Oh no, it's fine. Yeah, I love both though. I love both.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, does anyone else care to engage with that question?
I don't want to poke the bear.
I don't care. You guys can, like, I was just like kind of just explaining where I'm going.
Oh no, yeah. No, you made a good argument though. Because for me, I do prefer the Ethan Hunt movies, and that's just because I never got into the Bond movies. I mean, I told you I only seen like 2 of them, and so I really need a one day or one weekend just see the best ones or just go through the era. But I just like the progression of where the Mission Impossible movies and like how they went from almost kind of being laughed at and forgotten to this just resurgence and this dynamic cast, and now we're about to have 2 back-to-back epic finales. That's just where my love of it came from.
Yeah, for sure.
I
Kaleena.
think everyone's right. I think everyone's correct. There's a place for both. There's room for both at the table.
I agree. Well, and what I actually love about the Mission Impossible films, and it's similar to like when the Bourne movies were like really big in the early 2000s, they force the Bond films, and honestly vice versa, they force each other to like, you know, like go there, to go places, like incorporate more, top tier action and like spectacle and whatnot. And I think when you have multiple spy franchises like this competing in the same sphere, it only makes each property better. So like I love that. And I think healthy competition is great overall. I do want to bring up something funny. Dennis S. saying, you learn nothing about his backstory, Tyler, on the Bond backstories movies.
Wait, what?
It's funny. Dennis S. saying, you learn nothing about his backstory, Tyler, on the Bond backstory movies.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting heated. It's getting heated in here, man.
Don't bring it
very
up.
Heated. I'm sweating. Yeah, a lot of people talking about the Bond versus Mission Impossible. Honestly, a lot of people agreeing with you, Tyler. Mount Lafferty saying MI is better than Bond, and some of the other stuff. But I'm surprised you didn't bring this up, Tyler. He also went on to say his wife in Mission Impossible 3 and 6.
My wife.
Oh, Michelle Monaghan.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we're going to take a few more questions here, guys, and then we're going to close this out, so be sure to send in really good ones. Again, if you want your question immediately answered, you can do the Super Chat, not required by any means, but if you feel like supporting the channel, that'd be great. Otherwise, we're going to just, like, scroll through here and see what we got. So send in some
let's go.
Good ones. I know, that was great. I love... Tyler, we need to do a debate. Like, I love this. This is that never happens. Like, you and I on like just opposite ends of the spectrum. Yeah. It's amazing.
Dude, I almost had a heart attack, man.
I noticed I've triggered most of them, so I'll just come in as referee to drop mic.
This is great. This is amazing. Okay, this is a great one from Colin Williams. What's a movie your parents love but you hate?
Oh.
My parents have shitty taste in film. I've taught them. It's been a very reverse situation.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Tyler, do you have any thoughts on this?
I mean, they like a lot of good stuff, but they like a lot of bad stuff too. Yeah. There's occasional like straight to Netflix movies. They'll say like, "Oh, you got to watch this one," but I can't think of any. But they're just like. Dad, I'm never gonna watch that movie. Like,
yeah,
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but there have been a couple like that. I'm like, why would you watch that?
I have my answer. My I don't know if I can speak for my mother, but my father, and God bless him, he thinks that Green Book is a great movie, and
everyone's just like,
I like nearly I felt an oncoming aneurysm as my dad was speaking to me. I even went as far as like the same week. The only reason I found out that my dad loves Green Book is because my acting professor, who I will restrain my feelings on him, also thinks Green Book is great. And he's like, oh, well, I know the guy who wrote it, blah, blah, blah. Because he's also a director and whatever. And when he said he loved Green Book, the teacher, all of the class went on such a like screaming cussing tangent that he muted everyone on Zoom and was like, this is being recorded for the school. You guys cannot yell that many expletives. He made me go last because he knows I'm the most vocal in the class. And I explained all the reasons why he was wrong for liking Green Book. And he logged on to Zoom the next week and was like, you guys really made me think about Green Book. And your words really sat with me. It's not a good movie. And I was like, no, it's not. It's like white savior. I solved racism because I have one black friend is how the movie ends. And so many people don't realize that. And my dad feels the same. And if I were younger, I would legally disown myself, but I'm an adult.
Hey, Kaleena.
Yeah.
Green Book's one of my favorite Best Picture winners of all time.
It's very difficult.
I'm so sorry. I love that movie so much. I'm so sorry. I love it so much.
Okay. Honestly, I just feel bad for Tyler because of this bombardment.
Okay.
I know.
Like,
it's very awkward. It's
over
very
there,
awkward.
Man. Yeah. No. But anyways, Chris, what is your pick for that one? Movie your parents like but you hate.
So it's hard to say because my whole taste on movies is based off my dad, because my dad was one of those guys who's like, oh, you haven't seen Rocky? Here's all the Rocky movies. Oh, you haven't seen Indiana Jones? Here's all the Indiana Jones movies. But then as I got older and my teenage years more rebellious, my parents were really into the Dane Cook phase where he was having like movie after movie. I don't know if you guys remember where he was like with
Employee of the Month.
Yeah, Employee of the Month. That one where he sleeps with women, then they get engaged the next day or whatever. Or like he had like a string of movies back to back for like a couple. And I remember just not wanting to sit down and see those movies, and my parents just laughing their butt off enjoying that. So I guess it's like that era of movies.
Yeah, for sure. That's funny. I'm trying to think of ones for mine because for the most part, my parents do have really good taste in film, and actually, when my mom isn't like inherently aware of all the indie movies that come out, but when I like send her to them, she loves them. Like she loved Uncut Gems. I don't think my dad really took to it, but my mom absolutely loved that movie. But the one that my mom and my sister like that I absolutely hate, and I think my dad is actually on the same page on this one as me, is Polar Express. I think the Polar Express is terrible.
You hate Polar Express?
It's so bad. It's really, really hard for me to sit through that. It's cringeworthy and stupid, and the kids are just dumb. Like it's not good.
The animation scares the shit out of me. But I love it, man. And I don't know that I have it in my body to hate a movie that Tom Hanks is part of, even The Lady Killers.
That's fine.
I like The Lady Killers. I like the movie.
I thought it was fun. Griff, you're
it's just a good movie.
That's fine. It's all right. Like, all right, let's move away from this real quick. Marshall Boy with the super chat. Thank you so much, my man. Really appreciate it. He says, Tyler, serious question. How do you like the Noam? What is that like a acronym for something?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I would rather take the Child's Play remake over that awful movie. Man, everyone is coming in hot with.
Look, man,
attacking you.
I defend the 2019 reboot because I felt like they reinvented the character. They brought something new without copying exactly what Brad Dourif and Charles, their whole origin there, because he's still running and having a TV show coming up. I like the cast: Aubrey Plaza, Brian Tyree Henry. I thought the little kid did a great job, not just because he messaged me on Twitter once saying he's a fan of my channel, but other than that, I really dug it, and it's one of the few remakes that like critics actually like leaned on the positive side. I mean, if you have the Friday the 13th one, people hated that one, even though I guess that's one of the movies looking back now that I think is really good. And the Nightmare on Elm Street one, no redeemable qualities for me other than Jackie Earle Haley. It's not his fault, just given a bad movie. So that's where I defend it. But go ahead on your Nightmare on Elm Street take.
I can't believe a man paid you $5 to ask me that question. I can't believe that. No, I just dig it. I don't know. I like it's really weird seeing Freddy portrayed as like a child molester, but I kind of liked it just because it was so dark. Like, just like, well, I don't know. It just worked for me. Jackie Earle Haley was, yeah, it was. He was like a creepy Freddy, but it's nowhere near as good as like any of the movies from the original series. I just kind of dig it. Rooney Mara, she's in it.
Yeah, that's right. No, I agree with you. Chris, I've never really taken to the Nightmare on Elm Street remake either, other than Jackie Earle Haley, which I think is really the like. I get they wanted to go in a different direction, but was it the?
I'm not going to
move?
convince you to love it, but I'm just saying I'm not just blinded to it. I see its faults also, but I dig it.
For sure. Let's see. Going back here, I think we missed a few super chats. Okay, Eric Thorpe. Eric Thorpe says James Bond is much better than M.I. Done.
That's a Canadian dollar. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
His opinion doesn't matter.
Canadian.
Thank you, Eric.
So
really
funny.
appreciate the super chat. Always love your comments in here.
Great.
You guys are really asking some good questions right here. George, my friend George here. Whoops, which one did I pop up with? Well, I'll just talk about this one. Colin Williams says, my dad hates Baby Driver and Logan. I was shocked he didn't like them, so we always disagree on that. Yeah, I'd probably...
I think Baby Driver's overhyped, y'all.
What? You're not going to see the sequel then?
I don't think
Sorry, I didn't realize this was Hot Takes Live. What the hell?
That should be the name of your channel. Hot Takes Live.
That'll be the new live stream.
Shit take. No one agrees with me. No, I don't think it's bad, and I thought it was very fun, and it's rewatchable. And as with all Edgar Wright movies, like the editing and like the technical aspects of his movies are so damn impressive. And look, I love John Hamm is my favorite person to ever show up in a movie. I will never be more excited for someone to appear in a movie than John Hamm. So there's nothing to like about it, but I especially being in film school, that's like the movie that comes up the most when people are supposed to give an opinion about something, and it just never quite hit me in that same way. So I think it's slightly overrated, not undeservingly so. I just think people are a little bit too much on the train of Baby Driver.
That's fair. Okay, my friend George sends in a super chat. Thank you so much, man. Again, really appreciate you supporting this and whatnot. He says, what do you want from the next Tarantino movie? Good question. What did you say?
For it to not be the last.
Oh, yeah.
Not to be ass. I was like,
I mean, that too.
I get what he's doing, man, but the only reason he's trying to make the 10 movies is not because he's burnt out of filmmaking, and it's not because he's out of ideas. He literally is just wanting to solidify his own legacy and be like, I'm the first guy that was like, I made 10 movies that I'm proud of, and now I'm done. And he has a baby or is about to have a baby. I'm not sure if the kid came out yet. But he's gonna go be a father, and that's like a whole separate chapter. So I get it, but Steven Soderbergh has retired like 26 times. Like, he was supposed to retire with Contagion, and then he's like, wait, Magic Mike, which is actually a good movie.
It is, yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I hate when people publicly say they're retiring. Like, I don't know if Daniel Day-Lewis is done. Phantom Thread is amazing, and I think would be a great movie to go out on. But I also believe that creatives inherently are never going to be able to shut off that part of themselves. And like, Daniel Day-Lewis is a cobble maker or whatever. Like, he makes shoes. I get it. So he has other shit he can be doing. But at the end of the day, someone who is naturally creative, if they find a project that they're drawn to, it's not going to let them sleep at night. And so I think it's kind of dangerous to so publicly advertise that something is going to be your last. So when Tarantino makes his next movie, if he sticks to his guns and wants himself to be done, that's fine. But a guy like him, I don't think he'll really be able to stay away for too long.
Yeah, and I can see him doing a lot in maybe like streaming or TV. It's kind of a workaround, because he also strikes me as the kind of guy who's like, well, I said this, so now I have to stick to it. He doesn't ever want to put his foot in his mouth or something like that. But yeah, Tyler, what do you want out of Tarantino's supposedly last film?
I don't know. I wish he would have saved Once Upon a Time for Hollywood. That would have been a perfect movie to go out on, I think. So I can't. Sadly, even if the movie's great, which it probably will be, man, he should have went out on Hollywood. Like, I think if he would have won, the Oscar, and that movie would have swept the Oscars. I think he possibly would have retired early, maybe just because it's like perfect. But I just want it to be good. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what I want. I don't know.
I know. I think the great thing about Tarantino is that like you want him to be unpredictable. You want him to come up with something that isn't like stuff he's done before. I mean, obviously, like I love when he does westerns, but like he's already done like 2 westerns, so it's like, do I want him to do another western for his last film or just something completely original and different? But Chris, do you have any thoughts on this?
For Tarantino, I just mean, good for him, man, to finish it off. I do just wonder how long it'll last and whether we like, because I do agree with what you mean. He probably does want to finish it off, but I think the itch to film make, we've seen that come back in multiple people who say they retire and then they have one great idea they can't get out of their mind and they jump back in. Or if not, he said done filmmaking as a director. He did a great job with that Hateful Eight cut on Netflix. Who knows if he doesn't decide to like step down from like the big spotlight of making movies and starts making some sort of series or producing or still having a hand in Hollywood.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
I add too that I would kill to see him work with Tom Cruise. I so badly want to do them like together.
I've been dreaming of this for like 10 years.
It's going to be my one name drop, but when I worked with Tom a couple years ago, that was like one of the first things I brought up. I was like, dude, you have to work with Tarantino. And Tom wants to. He says that's one of his top directors that he wants to work with. And at the time, he was still kind of in negotiations to maybe, I think that was before Hollywood was like really fully developed. He was kind of in negotiations for that. So if, I don't know if it's going to be his last film, like I said, but I would love to see Tom involved in some way.
He was supposed to be Cliff Booth.
That's what I thought, right?
Yeah. Like,
I can't imagine anyone except Brad, but
I know.
Tom just has that crazy part of him that I think Tarantino can tap into in such a special, bloody, fantastic way. It would be my thing.
I just listen. And Tyler, you and I talk about this all the time. I just want Tom Cruise to go back to like prestige films along with like the action movies, like because people forget he's such a good actor.
Magnolia.
He was robbed of the Oscar for Magnolia. Like
Jerry Maguire, I think is
Jerry Maguire. Yeah,
great.
I mean, he's excellent, and so like I'd love to see him go back to that. Oh my god, Collateral, like so good. Okay, a few more questions here, guys. So be sure to send them in. We're gonna start wrapping. Oh shit. Okay, all right. I will get to those in 1 second. I had one queued up right here, but totally fine. So real quickly, Bopple asks favorite PTA movie. For me, it is The Master, I think.
The Master.
Oh, wait. No. It's Punch Drunk Love.
Ooh, okay.
Then I guess to be different, I'd go Boogie Nights.
I think Boogie Nights is what we're supposed to say. Man, The Master, I watched. So when that movie came out, I saw it and I immediately went back and saw it again, like minutes later. I watched it twice in a row because that movie blew me away. I also think this is not my favorite by any means, but I just want to put out there that Inherent Vice is not the trash movie that people think it is. I think Inherent Vice
is trash. No, really
funny. Oh man, I love PTA too. Phantom Thread. Maybe I'll say Phantom Thread because that was the first movie in the longest time that I think I can recall that I watched and was like, that movie was so perfect to me that I don't ever want to watch it again because I don't want to find or discover a flaw about it. So I didn't read any articles about it. I've done no follow-up. I own a 4K version of Phantom Thread that is packaged and will remain that way because I'm terrified of finding something that's not perfect with it. So maybe I'll say Phantom Thread.
That's a good pick. Actually, I just realized that Bopple sent in a super chat for that one, so glad we answered it. But yeah, he brought up, he's mentioned that you brought up Phantom Thread, so yeah, favorite PTA film. And then Tyler, you said There Will Be Blood?
No, The Master. It's the best acted movie I've ever seen in my life. I think it's incredible, and it's just I can't believe a human being like could come up with that movie. It's perfect.
I mean, it's
There Will Be Blood is amazing too.
Yeah, it's my that's definitely top 3.
There's no wrong answer for this question, which is what's great about it.
Yep, totally agree. Okay, Marshall Boyson's in a super chat. Thank you so much, Marshall. Really appreciate that. He says Halloween 2018 or It Chapter 1 2017.
I'm going It.
As much as I really dug It, I'll go with Halloween 2018 on this. just because I guess maybe I soured on the first movie after seeing how they ended the second movie.
Mhm.
But Howling 2018 just for bringing back the slasher genre, because that's my favorite subgenre in horror movies, and I feel like it's one that it's run its course, it's hit a block. It's like, how much further can you do something with a guy wielding a knife and chasing a group of teenagers? It feels like it's been played out as far as it can, and with this and then Scream coming back, I'm hoping there's a big push for it, so that's where I'll go with.
You're probably right.
I would say It Chapter 1, despite my feelings on it, just because it's such a good cast. No one is bad in that cast. Even the kids are fine. But like Jessica Chastain and James McAvoy and Bill Hader and Skarsgård, like they're all also good.
Yeah, I would probably go. This is really tough for me, but just based on rewatchability, I'm more likely to rewatch Halloween than I am It. I love that first It, and I think it balances like horror and heart really, really well. Even with what we got in the second one, I actually don't hate It Chapter 2.
I love
like,
Chapter 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that kind of like continues what Muschietti was doing in the first one. But just man, for just like a fucking I can't speak, a really good just like a really solid bloody slasher film that just completely reinvigorated the Halloween franchise and just discarded all the trash that came out after the first film. Halloween 2018 is great. And it's Michael Myers just unchained, like at his best. Like he's never been better. Sure. And the John Carpenter score is unbelievable. So
we got a couple suggestions.
We got more in here? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
okay.
Man.
Thank you guys so much. You guys are you're amazing. Thank you for your comments.
They're like Steam at 2 hours and 15 minutes in. I love it. My day is here, so I'm good to be on this for however long y'all are.
All right, good. Okay, so George also saying, talk about Grand Budapest Hotel. It's my favorite Wes Anderson film. I'm not a big Wes Anderson guy, to be honest. I don't know, maybe that's controversial or not. I've just never really gravitated towards his films or that style of filmmaking, but the Grand Budapest Hotel was the only one where I was like, I actually love this, and I think his style perfectly worked for that movie. Really great script, excellent cast, amazing performances. I loved Ralph Fiennes in that movie. Oh my god, so good. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys do? You love? I assume everyone here likes that movie, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Tyler, what are your...
Jesus,
Tyler.
We don't have time for a fight, Tyler.
I don't like Wes Anderson. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know you and I are on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I get why people like him. Like, he's got, like, a cool aesthetic. It's very symmetrical. But, like, I just can't get it. Like, I love Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think that's his best movie. I think his style lends itself well to animation. But, like, I don't know. His movies are just... They look too perfect. There's just something about them. Like, it just messes with me. I don't know. But Grand Budapest is fine. Like, I don't hate it. It's fine.
Yeah, I think Grand Budapest is so fun. I haven't rewatched it as much as I thought I would, not for any particular reason. I just haven't. Fantastic Mr. Fox, I think, is probably his best too. I also love Life Aquatic. I think that's a really underrated Anderson film. It's so fun.
Bill Murray's good in that.
There's nothing to say about it that hasn't already been said. It's pretty and it's fun and it's a good time and.
Yeah, and I actually like the signature like set pieces that are like miniatures. I think actually really work for that movie more so than probably any of his other films. And it looks like French Dispatch is going to kind of like tap into that same thing as well. So I actually am excited for that. Yeah. Okay, so I got another super chat here from Tyler Van. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. He says, best and worst Ron Howard film. For me, his
Ron Howard film.
Wait, what did you say?
I said, is there a best Ron Howard film?
Absolutely. How dare you? How dare you? I think
he's so overwhelming to me.
This film is not only his most underrated movie, it's easily his best movie, and that's Rush with Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl. Okay. That movie is it's my favorite sports film outside of Miracle, it's my favorite sports movie of all time. And it not only should have been nominated for Best Picture, but Daniel Bruhl should have been nominated for Best Actor. You probably throw Chris Hemsworth in there for sure, but like, cinematography, editing, Hans Zimmer. I mean, it is so good. It is. If you have never seen Rush, go see it. I think more people are finding it now, but like, it is still not talked about enough. So I highly, highly recommend that. So much better than Ford v Ferrari, I will say. It blows that film out of the water.
Yes. I agree. I would say his worst is Inferno.
Oh,
Probably.
yeah, Inferno's bad.
It's a really bad.
It's a really
You
bad
think it's
movie.
worse than Solo?
Solo's amazing. Solo is amazing.
Oh God!
Solo is like top 3 Star Wars.
Oh my God!
I freaking love Solo so much.
You gotta end this live stream before she left.
Oh my!
She left.
What?
Yeah, sorry.
No, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Solo, but even I will admit Inferno is far worse. Like Inferno is just like a hacked movie that it doesn't even feel like the past 2 Da Vinci Code films. I'm like shocked that it was made by Ron Howard, to be honest. It's probably made by the Crank guys, for all we know. Like it feels like it.
Yeah.
Did he do Apollo 13 or no?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, that's my choice for best.
Okay, yeah.
I could not be bothered with the Da Vinci movies, despite my like perpetual love for Tom Hanks. Nothing about that, especially his haircut, appealed to me. I will notice I'm like I judge movies a lot based on the haircut of lead actors. Solo / most other things he's done are the worst. I just think he's so boring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still think there's a lot of style to his movies that he doesn't get credit for. Like In the Heart of the Sea isn't a good movie, but like there's
I like that movie, yeah.
it's really well shot and like I think it's a well-made movie. It's just boring.
A Beautiful Mind. That one's great.
Yeah, Beautiful Mind is excellent.
Really good.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
I still think
Chris?
No one was gonna say this. The Grinch. I really.
Oh,
I
that's a
love
great
The
choice.
Grinch.
I love
That's a
The
great
Grinch.
choice. That's a great choice.
I thought
a great choice.
Yeah, The Grinch, Jim
Yeah.
Carrey, and then Inferno, his worst, of course.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm so happy you brought up The Grinch because that is like top
I wanna-
2 favorite Christmas movies.
I kind of want to like change my pick now to The Grinch.
What's your
I
number
love
one
it.
then?
It's Polar Express. We know that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say.
No, wait, what was your number one? Was it Rush?
Oh no. Well, yeah, it was what you guys were mentioning. Beautiful Mind would have been my number one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then Tyler, what was your number one A Beautiful Mind too, or was it Rush?
Rush.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Oh man, all right, guys. I think we're gonna dial it down here. One more question.
Okay.
Let's see. Send in a good one. I want to go out on a high note. No bad questions here. So I make it a good one, guys.
While they're sending this in, I do want to discuss something because I heard something and I don't know if it's true or not, but I want to hear your guys' take. So you guys know the Space Force thing that's coming out, right, on Netflix? I believe it's debuting. I'm hearing that Steve Carell is only in like the first 3 episodes.
Really?
Okay, so that would make a lot of sense. Because when I was like reaching out to Netflix about junket stuff and like people to interview, he was not on the list. Like he's credited as a co-creator of the series.
Yeah, and he's like the main character in the trailers. It's what it seems like. And even if you go on IMDb, he's only listed for 3 episodes when everyone else is listed for more.
Oh wow!
I bet you're right.
That's not good.
That's gonna.
He probably dies. Honestly.
I think so.
Yeah, he probably dies.
People that I know that have watched it have said it's really, really bad.
Really?
I have the screeners. I just haven't. I have not watched it.
Wow.
Well, if they're advertising him as like the leading man, and it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Crap.
Yeah, for sure.
These questions are not controversial enough.
They're not controversial enough. I know. What the hell is going on here, guys?
We want to fight. This is only going to end.
Give a controversial.
Well, go ahead.
I will throw this one up here for now from Sakari. Favorite Best Picture movie ever made. I think for me,
that just got nominated or that won?
No, just in general.
Okay.
Oh, I guess.
I think it would be a winner, right?
Yeah, it'd be winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My favorite, I think, is American Beauty. I think that'd be mine. Yeah.
This is like not the right answer, but it's the first thing that comes to mind. The Departed.
Oh shit! I take that back. Yeah. No. I still go American Beauty, but The Departed would be number 2. That's one of my favorite movies ever too.
My answer should be La La Land. It should be.
It should be La La Land.
It's Titanic. I love Titanic.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's such a good answer.
A good one.
I love Titanic.
Yeah.
Such a good answer.
You
Thank
know,
you.
you know what? I
love it.
just Green Book made me feel good for having a black friend, so I'm gonna.
That's
everyone.
that's why we've hit the 2 hour and 23 minute mark. Okay, what is your actual answer?
Yeah, my actual.
He's joking, folks.
Yes,
it's a
I'm
joke.
joking.
He's not
Please
being
don't
serious.
Cancel me. I have a lot at stake. If it Forrest Gump. There we go. That'd be mine.
What's wrong?
It's like the longer this stream goes on, the worse the takes get.
Wait, you don't like Forrest Gump? It wouldn't be my choice, but you know.
No, I don't. I think it's a bad movie.
Really? I love it.
I really like Forrest Gump, but holy crap. Pulp Fiction or Shawshank should have won that year.
Yeah, dude, come on.
Holy crap. But Forrest Gump is still a good movie. I like it. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Special shout out to The Hurt Locker. It's a good one, too.
Yes, that is such a good movie.
No one ever talks about that again.
I know.
A lot of people in the chat are saying Return of the King. Yeah, Return of the King is one of the best, but like, it's hard to refute that. And then my friend George says, The Artist. I love The Artist. It is one of the most underrated Best Picture wins. So like, thank you for bringing that up. It's great. I love it. Okay, and then George also says, Kaleena's takes have been terrifying. Definitely make a YouTube channel.
For real.
There you go. This is why it needs to happen.
This is why women can't speak, because no one likes our opinion.
Unreal. How dare they? Okay, I want a good one, guys. Come on, what the hell? Let's
should have won.
Shawshank should have won.
Wait,
Yeah.
Can we ask each other a question while we're waiting?
We can. We can. Yes.
Someone else go.
Okay. Then the other breaking news that happened before we got on, one of the producers for Jurassic World said that this new movie won't be the end. That they're gonna set up more.
God,
movies.
why? End it. They're not good.
And they made a point to say that the dinosaurs are on land with us, and they're gonna be like that for a while. So basically saying, however Jurassic Dominion ends, they plan to make more movies with them on our turf.
Jurassic World 2 would have been good if it was just about rescuing the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
The first half of that movie is a solid concept, and then it just flushes itself down the toilet for like 2 more hours.
Well, Griffin and I
actually
really like Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah, I actually do. The thing about Fallen Kingdom is that like it's silly and dumb, but like it's really ambitious, and I think J.A. Bayona has he infuses it with a lot of style. To the point where it's probably my third favorite Jurassic Park movie. I know that's not really saying much. Like it would go the first one, The Lost World, and then Fallen Kingdom.
That's fair.
Take your pick from the other, really middling and bad ones, but
I just want Colin Trevorrow to stop working. I don't think that's asking a lot. I just don't want him to make
Is Lost World the second one or the third one, Griffin?
The Lost World is the second one. The third one is just Jurassic Park 3. And listen, I love Joe Johnston, but that's a terrible movie.
I love Jurassic Park 3.
I like Jurassic Park 3.
Really, really bad.
Yeah, I just like it straight up horror and just them having to survive on an island.
I know. The pterodactyls, come on, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
The stream is scary.
Yeah. It's so short. Like, what's the point? Also, I'm sorry, like the dream sequence. Why?
That is weird.
That's weird. That part, I can't defend that part.
Yeah, I can't either.
I like it's just a straight up like rescue action thriller. I don't know. I like it. It's very quick.
Yeah. Good.
Here's my question for you guys: if you could recast the lead in any movie, what would it be, and who would you recast?
Well, that actually kind of ties into this question from Dennis right here. He says, "Which popular movie should have had its main character be another actor?" So that's perfect.
I swear to God, I didn't see that comment. That's hilarious.
No, totally. Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't know.
I'm trying to think.
Gosh, I know I've said it many times before that they're like someone else should have played this character, but like I'm trying to think.
Who would you recast for the Flash?
Don't say Grant Gustin.
No, I'm not gonna say Grant. Even though I think that he could have been good.
I thought you said Bryan Cranston. I was
I
like,
think you said Bryan Cranston too. I was
No,
like,
my
yeah,
bad.
don't
Sorry,
say
I'm
that. Do not say that.
Brian.
You know who I would pick,
No.
man? It's kind of, I don't think anyone will like this pick, but Dylan O'Brien. Give that man
Dude,
some
did
work.
you see his Twitter where he
The
paid
social
tribute to
network.
Andrew Garfield?
Yeah, dude,
That was
so
awesome.
good.
He was more doing an Andrew Garfield impression than his own take, though. But yeah,
Yeah. But he was really good in like The Maze Runner, which is kind of like running and stuff. So
yeah.
I'm going to add an amendment to this question and say that we cannot pick a superhero movie. Because that's a cop out.
Yeah,
it is.
I guess never mind.
This Dylan O'Brien would be a good flat, or well, we can't do this, but
His other question, but I'm saying for Dennis's question, I don't think we should be able to pick a superhero movie.
No,
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
Character be another actor.
Oh, damn, that is really tough. Okay.
It's hard.
I'm trying to like not go through.
Oh, okay. Isn't this the Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker?
I was literally about to say Leo for Anakin. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's we would have liked to have seen that.
Yeah, I think I would.
Do you think it would have hurt his career though, like it did Hayden?
No, because Natalie Portman survived. I think,
True.
like, and also Ewan McGregor did too. I think the thing is like if you had a better actor in there, they could have improvised where like George Lucas was not directing them. Mm-hmm. So like because Hayden Christensen obviously needs more work to be able to give like a good performance, like it just was never going to work with someone like George Lucas, who is not an actor's director. So if you got someone in there who was more comfortable, like a Leo, I think the performance definitely would have been better. It still doesn't like fix all of the problems with those movies, but I think maybe we would have liked. I mean, I still like Hayden's portrayal as Anakin, but like I think Leo would have given us something better.
What about George Clooney as Batman?
Superhero.
Would that have... sorry. Sorry, you said superhero. My bad. Sorry, Kaleena.
I almost said Captain Marvel, but I was like, what?
I came up with 3 answers in my head, and they were all superhero movies, so I take back my own amendment. I would replace, and I don't think anyone is going to agree with me. I think Anne Hathaway is fucking awful as Catwoman. I think she is so bad in that movie, and I love Anne Hathaway. I love her, but she is just generally, and I find Anne Hathaway to be like an attractive person, but when she tries to be like the sexy baby thing, it makes me sick to my stomach for some reason.
Okay.
So I don't even know who I would replace her with. Actually, you know what? I think maybe Marion Cotillard would have been an interesting Catwoman.
Yeah, I mean, I love her, and I think she's an incredibly underrated actress. Just like in terms of like what the general public know her for. I think film circles know her and appreciate her talent. But yeah, she'd be a good Catwoman for sure.
What do you guys think of the other actors that were in contention for Joker? Knowing how Joaquin did, is there anyone else that you guys would have been curious to see in Todd's movie?
Nah.
Was there someone else up for her instead of Joaquin? I
don't know.
A lot of names were tossed around. I'm trying to think who was. There's like a really big name that was in high consideration for it. I think Leo was actually attached really briefly.
Wow.
I'd be down to see like a Leo Joker. I think I'd be more down to see a Leo Riddler. And actually, I remember when before The Dark Knight Rises was coming out, there were like rumors that Johnny Depp was going to play the Riddler, and that's a casting I've never been able to get out of my head because I think that's perfect.
Interesting. What do y'all think of? Because Leo was going to be Patrick Bateman if Bill didn't take the role, and I think about that like twice a day.
I think Leo would have been too young.
Because he was think of his face in The Beach. That's what his face looked like at the time that American Psycho came out. I don't think
it works. It doesn't work. Yeah. No, I don't think it works. Any other ones from you guys? We'll move on to the last question, which is super chat. So,
not really.
No,
okay, we got one last super chat in here, I think.
One last super chat, and that's what we're going to close out on, and we're going to close out on a great one. Thoughts on Birdman? It's one of my favorite movies of all time. That, actually, I was mistaken when I said American Beauty is my favorite Best Picture win. Birdman is one of my favorite Best Picture wins, if not my favorite Best Picture win. That movie is amazing. Alejandro G. Inarritu is just... He's perfect. He's probably my favorite out of the three Mexican director trio of like Guillermo del Toro, Alfonso Cuarón, and Inarritu. He kills it. He kills it. So I love this movie. I think it's genius, and I love how each of the actors they play like a mythical version of themselves that like we have always like based on like rumors or just like stuff that we've heard. It's very self-aware, and I think it's great. So. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I like Birdman. I like it quite a bit, but The Revenant is just better. It's a better movie. The Revenant.
The Revenant's not a good movie. So interesting.
The Revenant. Wow. That should have won Best Picture the next year.
For The Revenant either.
Does it go back to your hair logic with Tom Hardy's hair?
No. My love and hatred for Tom Hardy is so much more complex than his hair. I don't know that I've seen Birdman. I don't know that I've seen Birdman more than like once or twice than when it initially came out, because I think I saw it a couple times in theaters. Mm-hmm. And I remember really loving it and being really impressed. But what's interesting in terms of it aging is, oneers and long takes are becoming way more mainstream now than they were at the time that Birdman came out. And so I'm curious how Birdman is affected by the idea that what made it so kind of special and like lightning flash to the Academy is no longer unique and original. So I would say that I remember really liking it, but I would be curious to know my own thoughts of after like a modern rewatch.
Yeah, for sure. Chris?
Yeah, I don't know. I think the magic's still there for these long take movies. I mean, what was the one we just recently had? 1917 did really good, but I get you now. They're becoming more common. I really dug it for the performance
too.
Yeah, I dug it for the performances. Was that supposed to be a one long take? I didn't even notice, or just what they did in the.
I mean, it was a oneer, but it wasn't like obviously there were cuts in there.
Yeah.
Are you talking about 1917 or Extraction?
Extraction.
Oh, okay. And so I just really like it. The end is what got to me for Birdman. Never quite understanding what the deal was that there and him flying off and whatnot. But it is a really good movie to me.
I think the movie ends with him dead, and what we're seeing is just sort of like
him go to heaven or something.
Yeah, or something like yeah, for sure.
Edward Norton is so underrated as an actor, and I love seeing him in good vehicles that are kind of custom made for him.
Yeah, no. I completely agree on that. But with that, guys, I think that's going to close out this super special, jam-packed, extra-long live Q&A. Thank you all for sending in the questions, and thank you all for sending in the super chats. We really appreciate your support of the channel. This has been a lot of fun, so we'll definitely, we've been doing these every week, but we'll definitely come back next week. And those of you who didn't get your questions answered, we will definitely come back and try and answer them next week. But starting with Kaleena, thank you for joining us. I know this has been awesome. So thanks for coming on. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me across social at Shut Up Kaleena, in case you guys don't understand why that's my brand. I've had a lot of fun. I would love to come back sometime. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You're always welcome. Well, and last cue from George here in the chat. What for you specifically? What is Tom Hardy's best performance?
The first thing that comes to mind is Bronson. He is so fun to watch in that movie if you guys haven't seen it.
Okay, well, there's your answer. Tyler, thank you as always for joining me, man. Really appreciate it. Where can everyone find you, and what is Tom Hardy's best performance?
It's The Revenant. Easy.
Okay,
so
I'm glad we're on the same page. Yeah.
But you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd too, just by searching my name, Tyler Tompkins. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And Chris, thank you for joining me. Really appreciate you taking your time out of. I know you're a busy man. You're hard to get a hold of. So.
What? No, I'm not. I always respond.
This means a lot. We're blessed with your presence. Sir.
No.
Where can everyone find you?
You guys can find me at youtube.com/3cfilms or at 3cfilm review on Twitter. I'll probably just be making an update on that whole Jurassic World situation. Best Tom Hardy performance, I'm going with Warrior.
Oh, great answer.
Yeah, Warrior. Great. Yeah, that is a great answer. Yeah, for sure. I think for me, my favorite one is The Revenant. He should have won the Oscar for that one. Mm-hmm. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining this live version of FilmSpeak Live. I really love doing this, interacting with you all, and having a great time. I mean, it's great to just have a line of dialogue and whatnot. So if you haven't done so already, though, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the FilmSpeak channel for more, movie reviews, more live streams like this, and podcasts and everything of that nature. If you like me specifically and you like what I have to say, you can give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. All right, that's going to do it for this live Q&A, guys, and I will catch you next time. Have a great long weekend, but all right, take care.